us, 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733, and you can Skype in to join us at Skype username LRN.FM. Here in the studio with you tonight, it's Ian,
Jonny Ray,
and Mark.
Last night, we talked quite a bit about what's happening or what was preparing to occur out in Catalonia, Spain, where, as of yesterday evening, some of the independence activists there had set up camp in polling locations, in schools and other places that were destined today supposedly to be polling locations, while police were scrambling to basically prevent people from going to those polling locations. They were sealing them up. They were attempting to stop people from going in, and at 6 a.m. this morning were expected to throw the people who were in the polling locations out of those polling locations, while at the same time claiming that they weren't
peaceful,
that they weren't going to use force. And, of course, anybody who knows how government works knows that that's a big lie.
Anybody who's ever been thrown out of a bar understands that just because they were asked to leave doesn't mean that a threat of force wasn't made. Ultimately, you're asked to leave at some point or another. They're going to pick you up and bodily throw you out.
There's an interesting story from the New York Times about how things went today, and I've been hearing things on and off throughout the day. If you want to weigh in here, you're welcome to join us. Our toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. From Barcelona, the big city there in Catalonia, it's their defiant attempt to stage an independence referendum descended into chaos today, with hundreds injured and clashes with police in one of the most serious tests of Spain's democracy since the end of the Franco dictatorship in the 1970s. National police officers in riot gear sent by the central government in Madrid from other parts of Spain used rubber bullets and truncheons. No force. No force whatsoever here.
It sounds like they had no intention of using force either.
In some places, as they fanned out in thick phalanxes across Catalonia, the restive northeastern region, to shut down polling stations and literally seize ballot boxes. As we had told you last night, prior to yesterday, they had seized millions of pre-printed ballots, and that resulted, as I believe this story might make clear a little bit later, that made it so they had to actually print the ballots at the voting locations, basically. You come in, you get a ballot printed for you, because they couldn't have them in advance due to the police stealing them. The clashes, or over the course of the referendum, the day turned almost surreal. The voting went ahead in many towns and cities, with men and women, young and old, singing and chanting as they lined up for hours to cast ballots, even as confrontations with the police turned violent elsewhere. The clashes quickly spoiled what had been a festive, if expectant, atmosphere among voters, many of whom had camped inside polling stations to ensure they would remain open. Even at the end of the day, many of those same voters stayed on, fearful that officers might arrive to seize the ballot boxes. More than 750 people were injured in the crackdown and scuffles that ensued, Catalan officials said, while a dozen Spanish police officers were wounded, according to their interior ministry. Despite the violence, Prime Minister...
Now, the fact that they were wounded, an officer wounded, doesn't mean that somebody wounded an officer. I think this is important to point out.
He could have tripped and fallen.
I worked at a prison for some time. I was in a prison and worked at a prison, and I worked with the officers. And, most of the time when there was a use of force, a mass use of force by the officers, some officer would be injured. Maybe they'd be chasing an inmate down, ready to beat him, and they would slip on something. Maybe they would, maybe they'd jump out of the way when people came running by, and they'd twist an ankle. A whole variety of things happened that weren't, an attack on an officer. So I just feel, as a matter of fact, man, I can't honestly think of a successful attack, like an officer really injured,
getting wounded,
by an inmate while I was there. Lots of inmates in.
And you were there for 9 years.
Yeah, it was 9 years.
8-ish,
so
9
just
years.
to say, that's my experience.
I suspect that that police organizations everywhere keep very strict records of anything that could be considered an injury. Some years ago, I was a junior manager for a cleaning company, and I had cut my hand while I was cleaning some windows. I had cut my hand, I think, not with glass or anything, but with the squeegee or something.
Okay.
It was a very minor thing. And while I was talking to my boss, I mentioned it in passing, and then there was my boss was at the home office, and there was somebody in the background from their insurance, their legal department. And this guy, his ears perked up, and he wanted to know all about it. And I had to write a statement about it.
Jeez.
Just because, if there's some insurance going on,
They're worried you're going to sue or something, right?
I don't know. I think in my case, it was just that maybe they weren't getting enough reports, and they had to get some. But 3 injuries. I suspect.
It's been too many days since we've had an injury. We need another one.
Now, how many? What was the number of the
10?
Okay, 10.
10 officers were injured. I'd also point out that as a fireman, if you have a heart attack within 24 hours of a call, that is called, whatever. That's an on-the-job
related
injury,
job
and the
related.
Insurance will pay for it. So
it was a dozen officers, but yeah, close enough. Despite the violence, Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy at a news conference Sunday evening characterized the police actions as the response of a, quote, mature, advanced, friendly, and tolerant democracy, but also a firm and determined one.
Where did the rubber bullets come in?
Well, maybe they're saying that's friendly because they didn't use real bullets.
I would consider a rubber bullet friendlier than a real bullet, sure.
But proponents of the referendum immediately pointed to the heavy use of police force as a blight, not only on his conservative government, but also on Spain's still relatively young democracy.
I wonder how Americans would feel with police officers telling them and their state that it couldn't have a particular vote. This has been ruled unconstitutional. You'll not be having this vote. This non-binding
referendum,
vote.
Yes.
We don't want the information that this vote, and that's all it is, just information. We don't want the information that this vote will give out. I wonder how Americans would react to that.
Well, I think the Spanish government declared that it would be non-binding, didn't they?
No, I think it was always intended as a non-binding referendum, just to kind of take the temperature of the people in the Catalonian region to see how many people are in favor. It's my understanding.
Yeah.
But not only was it non-binding, that was what they proposed, was a non-binding resolution, but the government labeled that as illegal, as unconstitutional, and they further said that anybody who participated would be breaking the law. So it's more than just a non-binding referendum, according to the Spanish government. It's basically treason to go out and vote in this thing.
Treason's an interesting crime, right?
The image
this organization that you don't want to be part of.
Yeah.
Is
They're going
saying
to put you in a jail cell
that you are being bad because you don't want to be a part of it. Well, treason, in some cases, the claim of treason is really close to sort of slavery. Again, if somebody doesn't wish to be your citizen, claiming their fruits of their labor through taxes and their allegiance it's kind of sick.
The image of the Spanish state has reached levels of shame that will stay with them forever, said the leader of Catalonia, Charles Puigdemont, told a crowd in the town of St. Julia de Ramis, the scene of some of the clashes. Today, the Spanish state has lost a lot more than it had already lost, and Catalan citizens have won a lot more than they had won until now.
By staying relatively nonviolent? Yes, they did.
And the numbers so far, now these are preliminary numbers according to a couple different sources. BBC News saying Catalan officials have said today that 90% of those who voted backed independence.
Well, of course they did. The Spanish sent their police. This was previously they didn't know if they were going to get 50%. What's that?
That's not why. The reason that it's 90% separatists is because why would a loyalist give credence
to the referendum?
Yeah, why would they appear and give it legitimacy?
That's a good point. We'll continue here in moments, but in the polls it had been like 40% in favor of. But you're right, Johnny Ray. They could very well have just stayed home.
Right. They said
protest.
that it was. Yeah. They said it was. That it was unconstitutional, and therefore the loyalist. Yeah, I'm with you.
All right. Toll free number here tonight: 855-450 free. Like freedom. We'll tell you more about what happened in Catalonia today, with the police literally using violence to try to stop a non-binding referendum vote. More coming up.
Called it a elephant skin. It was rough, wrinkly, like a Brillo pad.
His hair was falling out in clumps.
Petey stopped eating and all his hair fell out.
Our golden retriever, Sundance, he scratched incessantly. There was hair all over.
DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa. The digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
Dinovite is nutrition.
Within 2 weeks, the shedding slowed down to almost none. The scratching went away after a few days, and Sundance's coat was starting to get shiny and glossy.
It's a 180 turnaround. His skin has cleared up. He's not in pain.
If your dog has shedding, dry skin, excessive scratching,
Do the Dinovite.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000. Dinovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy. Fees are low and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try. Dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at Dash.org.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial in toll-free and join us on the radio. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733, and we do have Skype, so feel free to Skype into the show. Skype username is lrn.fm. Live Sunday edition of the show, following up on what we discussed in detail last night, which was the Catalonian independence referendum. It was a non-binding vote scheduled to happen throughout the day today, and things were really heating up throughout the last week with the Spanish government literally floating in cruise lines full of Spanish police to occupy the territory there in Catalonia, to shut down the voting locations, to threaten and intimidate and use actual force against peaceful people who are just simply trying to register their opinion on the question of whether or not Catalonia should secede from Spain. We'll tell you more about what happened there, and we'll get your calls and thoughts as well. But I want you to know also about Bitcoin.com. It's a great site to go and learn about Bitcoin, maybe get the basics about what Bitcoin is. Why is it such a phenomenon? Why is it worth over $4,500 today? $4,400, somewhere in that range? $4,400 US per Bitcoin. You can go and learn more about it over at Bitcoin.com. And if you want to get in a little bit deeper than just learning, you can also mine some Bitcoin, which could possibly turn you a profit down the line. You go to pool.bitcoin.com, and there's a handy calculator there that'll help you learn what you could make based on what you're willing to invest. There's a 100% uptime guarantee, and you don't have to worry about the cost, constant equipment upgrades, and maintenance that you have to normally if you're doing Bitcoin mining. This, you just put some an investment in and collect on the other end. Go to pool.bitcoin.com. Mark and I are both doing this. That's pool.bitcoin.com. Let's go to Libertarian Banker calling us from somewhere in the United States. You're on Free Talk Live.
Hey guys, listen, this situation in Catalonia, it's kind of funny. I think of everything from the perspective of a banker. It's hard for me not to do, but in banking we have the 3 C's of credit. Like ABC, three C's of credit: capacity, credit, and collateral. Right. So when we're looking at a borrower, we want to make sure they can pay the loan. Right? Is the payment reasonable for their income level?
Yep.
That's capacity. Do they have a good, have they paid their bills in the past? That's the credit piece. Like, do they have a good credit score? They pay their stuff on time. And the third is collateral. Everybody knows what that is, right? If you don't pay, I can take something from you. So when we're looking to lend to somebody, we look at those 3 things. And it's hard for me not to look at this situation in Catalonia through those lenses. And, you think about Catalonia, it's got, I think I did the numbers here, 16% of the population, yet 20% of the GDP. So they're, contributing more, at least compared to those numbers, than they're, taking. So,
yes.
Spain,
that's part of the complaint.
Wants to keep them in.
Yeah, that's part of the Catalonian complaint is that they have to spend, have to send a bunch of money out of their region.
Yeah, so it makes sense that with Madrid controlling the fiscal policy, right? The amount that the government spends, but they don't control the central bank. The European Central Bank controls it, and they have a bunch of different nations that have to vote on what happens there. So it's even more important that they keep their tax cattle in line, right? Because if they let these people go, they have no control over what happens at the European Central Bank. They can't make them print more money so that they can get it. Like Greece, look at Greece. They could not borrow more money to cover the spending that the government had, so they did a haircut on everybody's bank account, right?
Yep.
Because they don't control the central bank. And that's the problem in Spain. It makes it even more important that they keep their tax cattle here. If they let their tax cattle go, they're done.
I totally get this point, and it's one that I made, but I really don't think it's a point for Catalonia. I think it's a point against Spain because they're like, you're just keeping them to fund yourself. You're keeping them like serfs, and that much is true. But the Catalans, when you read their rhetoric and that sort of thing, these people don't want fiscal freedom from government.
No.
They want more socialism concentrated within Catalonia. And my question to a socialist like that would be, what's wrong with all the workers in all of Spain, in all of Europe, in all of the world? Don't you want to fund them too? Why not? Why wouldn't you want to fund them?
Well, see, and that's the thing, is it's not a thing of ideology anymore. It's a financial decision at this point from Madrid's standpoint. How are they going to fund their budget for the next 5 years without Catalonia involved with it? They can't. And if they can't fund their budget, they're going to have to borrow more money from the central bank. And is Germany really willing to put out more money, for the central bank to print more money for another country? Is this another Greece waiting to happen?
Mm-hmm.
It's just,
the 8 ball says no.
Crazy to me. So It just reminds me of Venezuela, too. I mean, the stuff that's happening there, the government trying to control what happens with the money supply, trying to control what happens with their tax cattle, so-called tax cattle. So it's just, man, I cannot believe what's happening over there.
Libertarian Banker, thanks for your perspective on this.
Guys.
Appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733, with Spanish police coming in and using truncheons, apparently, as well as rubber bullets against those who wish to vote in Catalonia today. Yet people were able to vote. And those who are saying, early numbers coming out are saying 90% of the voters voted in favor of Catalan independence. We'll tell you more about what happened here. You can, of course, comment. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. It's Ian, Jonny, Ray, and Mark in the studio here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, the European Union's great because people can go travel where they want. They can live, in large part, where they want.
They couldn't travel before the European Union? Come on.
It was much harder to travel. There was all the, the passport.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people
checking.
would say the European Union is not great because it's centralized more control, and just because it makes travel a little bit easier is not good enough.
Jonny Ray, it's like Ian can't even understand tone. I mean, there was a but coming that I had, right? But, Ian can't even wait for the but. He's got to say, it's all bad!
I'm thinking
people being free to cross borders without papers is not sufficient. I hate government.
No, I
so
didn't say that.
Previously it would have been like going from the U.S. to Canada, and
right.
Now it's more like going
from New Hampshire to Massachusetts.
Yeah,
more so. I mean, I don't know what
that's not
the
worth having
specifics
a
are.
central state.
Did I claim that?
No, I
did
didn't
you
say
hear me say that?
I didn't say you said that.
I said a lot of people would say the European Union was great.
No, you didn't say that. You said the European Union is great because.
Fine. The European Union is great.
It's possible that another layer above you can make you more free. It's just thinking that. Never mind, Mark. I interrupted you.
No problem at all. So, what I'm going to say is otherwise, it really requires places like Germany and France and these sorts of things to fund more irresponsible governments like Spain and Italy and Greece and actually the numbers go on, Portugal and a whole variety of them.
Sort of like how some states are funding other states in the United States through the U.S. government.
And, they don't want to. They don't want to kick all this money out. And so Spain's having to juice everything they can out of their citizens, and the Catalans don't like it anymore.
Let's continue with more of what happened today as the historic, what was just a referendum, vote attempted to move forward against the police.
Dr. Carolyn Dean wants you to have a free chapter of her new book, The Magnesium Miracle 2nd Edition, and it's available at magmiracle.com. In your free chapter, Dr. Carolyn Dean explains how magnesium is essential to support the structure and function and overall health of your body. Your free chapter is your guide to learn how to support your heart, bone, metabolic, lung, and mental health with this powerful mineral. The Magnesium Miracle 2nd Edition is available on Amazon, but right now get a free chapter at magmiracle.com, spelled M-A-G, miracle.com.
You've heard the phrase, you are what you eat? Not true. Actually, you are what you can absorb. So if the vitamins and supplements you now take are not being absorbed, what good are they? Introducing Protovite, proprietary liquid system that allows premium quality nutrients to positively affect the blood in an astonishing 5 minutes. Watch our amazing 2-minute live blood cell video at TrueHealthFacts.com. That's TrueHealthFacts.com. Then call 502-410-3411. Protovite is nutrition you can feel. Protovite is nutrition that gets in.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You dial toll free, bring up whatever you want. We're talking about the latest out of Catalonia and their non-binding referendum that the Spanish government acted like was the end of the world for them and literally trotted out thousands of armed men and women. The Spanish police coming into Catalonia today and throughout the week last week in cruise ships. That's how many we're talking about. That's a lot of police to occupy the streets, shut down polling locations. We'll tell you more coming up.
So, BulletBlocker.com is a company that was founded by a former Army Ranger and a firearms instructor with the goal of making backpacks for kids to protect them in case of school shootings. Well, their products were so popular that adults and lots of people wanted backpacks and then briefcases and jackets and coats and these sorts of things, all that with their bulletproof material. It's the thinnest and lightest ballistic available on the market today. It's very flexible and concealable. It's airport security friendly. It's made right here in the U.S. And, well, you got to have a nice jacket. You might as well have one that stops bullets, too. Get something for the whole family. This isn't the kind of thing you get a second chance at. BulletBlocker.com. The lives in your family are priceless. Protect them at BulletBlocker.com.
All right, let's continue here. The story, detailed story from the New York Times about what happened today. Last night it was looking pretty serious, pretty tense, and for good reason. The Spanish government wanted to put a stop to this vote that was happening today in Catalonia, where people were being asked whether they would support Catalonia seceding from Spain. And the Spanish government just did not want that to happen. Just this vote. It's not even a binding it's just a referendum. That's just, here's how people feel about something. Well, they didn't even want that to be expressed in any kind of official capacity. They threatened and actually arrested government agents in the Catalan region. And so if anybody were to be participating in this vote, they would have been subject to arrest, especially the government agents that are from the Catalonian region. The vote has been watched with rising trepidation, according to the New York Times, and no sign of support by European Union, wary of stoking forces of fragmentation already tugging at the bloc and many member states where populist and nationalist parties have surged in recent elections. Nationalism in Spain, a country with a long and painful 20th century history that included civil war and fascism, has been all but dormant since the coming of democracy after the death of the dictator General Francisco Franco in
Here in the United
1975.
States, nationalism is practically a religion. I mean, you don't find people that, except in Texas, that are, fiercely, chauvinistic about their state or province or that sort of
sectarian about their state.
Yeah, I mean, people say they love it and that sort of thing, but they don't, the moving from one to another isn't some kind of some kind of evil thing to do.
Well, because people in the United States tend to love America. They love the United States, that concept. Many of them would bristle at the idea of a state breaking away. We've had callers like this who would be upset if one state left. We just talked about this last night.
Right. And so when people hear that nationalism is, not very pervasive in Spain, I don't think that they kind of get it. But I mean, what is the point? How do you Americans feel about the UN? Well, we're a member state. Why aren't you excited about it?
Great point.
Why
is the U.S. big enough, but the UN too big, or whatever is going through their mind?
So that's really just what it all comes down to is that they're not all most places in Spain they're not on board with this. This is a very old country, and this whole concept of Spain, what it is, hasn't had the same borders for very long. And they've had they're historically not that there are people still alive that remember the Spanish Revolution.
Well then.
I was just going to call back to something I was saying earlier about political centralization. Political centralization, this doesn't sound quite right coming from a libertarian anarchist, but political centralization, I think, can make people freer, and political decentralization can make people less free.
It can.
But the only way that you're going to get anywhere is a deep, abiding commitment to black flag anarchy. Now, Ian asked me of an example of when political centralization made someone more free.
Give me an example, Johnny Ray.
I don't have one. I don't know that there is one.
I'll give you one right now. The
civil rights, forcing people to integrate in schools. How about
Lyndon
that?
Johnson sent the American or the National Guard troops to schools to allow integration. Now, I'm not going to say that's more freedom, but I will say that the Union sending troops to kill, Southern soldiers was a form of centralization, right? I mean, like one government saying, no, you're not going to, break off. And black people, as a result, at the end of the war, were more free. I'm not claiming the war was all about slavery. Please don't hash that out with me. But as a result, those people were more free. So, yes, centralization can make for more freedom.
I bet it felt, Mark, you said it's not necessarily more freedom with the example of the schools and civil rights era. I bet it felt more free when you were told previously you couldn't go into a place which you could now go in.
Yeah.
Those people probably felt more free in that particular case. If you were asking whether or not they were free in a wider perspective of in that is there more or less government? No, there's more government, but in that particular case, it certainly seemed as though what they did was burgeoning freedom.
I think what that did was make the civil rights legislation of the 60s, I think, made some business owners or anyone who maybe didn't care for black people feel a hand on their neck, and it planted seeds. And you can't, and it legislated that people not have ideas that they had.
Oh, I think it was bad. I think it was bad. I think people who are bigots should be free to be bigots. They should be out and open if that's what they want to do. That way we can all know who they are and avoid their business and avoid, giving them business. But ultimately, I totally see where you're coming from here, Johnny Ray.
I think the civil rights legislation made racism worse.
I think you're probably right about that.
White on black racism worse.
But in the moment, to the people who wanted to go into those schools, it probably felt freeing in that moment.
Except that they had to fight, struggle. There was a struggle involved in that. Those
there usually is.
Were warriors as opposed to being free.
Yeah.
There's freedom a price doesn't to pay. Seem like violence perpetrated against you, and that was the point that I was trying to make. Is that in many ways the people that chose to go into those schools weren't doing it for the sake of freedom. They were doing it in the sake of freedom for other people in the future, I think.
Oh, of course. I mean, that's generally how things go when it comes to people who are fighting for freedom. There are going to be people who pay a large price in the hopes that things become better in the future. I mean, let's continue with your calls and thoughts here. You can bring up anything that you want. It's David in New Mexico on Skype. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, I wanted to continue on with this whistleblowing, real-time whistleblowing on what goes on in the state of New Mexico or in state governments in general, with a couple more facts going forward from the last few that I gave you. And do you want a reference point from where we left off, or?
I don't know. If it matters, then you should. If it doesn't matter, then you shouldn't. I mean, if you need to bring people up to speed, then do it as quickly as possible.
Yeah, context is that there was a court-appointed attorney that was basically not doing any work, but presumably collecting his paycheck anyway for the last basically 12 months from October to October from last year to this year. The guy has done nothing on my case and actually told me day one he was quitting, and then every few months since then was pressed again as to whether he was going to work or quit. He always said quit, and he never submitted his resignation to the court, and then finally he did, but didn't do it technically correct. So technically he's still on the payroll, and another attorney hasn't replaced him. But the next step in that chain is that when I pursued this by making phone calls to different parts of the court system, one being the administrative office of the courts, and two being the court, the court in particular that was that this attorney is working in. The judge's assistant says that this attorney was getting paid by the AOC, and then I called the AOC, and they say that the dude was not getting paid by them, so it must be getting paid by the judge's office. And so nobody in the entire court system...
They don't even know where he's getting paid from?
Yeah, I want to know where he's getting paid from, and nobody in the court system in New Mexico can figure out where he's
Closing the wagons. Thanks for the call, David. More coming up. Free Talk Live. Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
If your dog has shedding, dry skin, excessive scratching, I would recommend Dynovite.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of Super Mega Fish Oil free.
Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Free this week at Dynovite.com.
Just feed your dog right. Use Dynovite.
Dynovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-7740. That's 800-610-7740. 800-610-7740.
The Relationship Pro talks to your girlfriend so you don't have to.
We're joined today in our demo center by Eric and Pam, a couple that's been teetering on the edge of divorce for years.
So, Pam, you guys have been using the controller all morning. I understand it's a very good listener.
It's like talking to a fully developed person.
It's got to be a major relief not needing your husband to be your partner or a friend.
Oh, yeah.
So, Eric, it must be a tremendous relief to know that there's someone else on the other end of Pam's eye rolls.
Oh, now I can focus on my game instead of worrying about all that stuff she said there.
Will the Relationship Pro keep you two together?
I think it'll drag this thing out for another couple months.
Amazing. Now, to thank you two for coming on the show, we bought you two the new Deluxe Relationship Pro Extreme.
This expanded model has 2 new modes. Fantasy mode, which allows you to select the age and nationality of the controller's voice.
Oh, I choose a voice like my dad's.
Okay. And a hyper-realistic mode that starts fights and then grovels pathetically when it's afraid you might get rid of it.
This is the Onion News Network.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu. 641-793-9660.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, and of course you can bring up anything that you want. Take control of the airwaves here, toll-free, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733, and Skype in. Skype username LRN.FM as we continue the live Sunday edition of Free Talk Live, discussing what is, in my opinion, one of the most important things happening out there today, and that is happening in Catalonia, Spain, which in the future hopefully will just be Catalonia. If the people of the region get their way, which is to say that they want to leave Spain, to take the most northeastern chunk of Spain out of Spain and make it its own country.
Interestingly, I mean, if it matters to anyone, I don't think it should, but I think it does. Catalonia is sort of triangular.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And
one side is bordering France and Andorra.
And Andorra, right? So there's little tiny Andorra sitting along Catalonia. So you can't say the country's too small. It sits right next to a country that is much
one of the
smaller. Yeah, this is one of the smallest. And it's a border county, province, I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Andorra is completely landlocked, and
Yeah, but Catalonia isn't. It's also bordered by the ocean.
That's correct.
So it really only shares one side of its triangle with Spain. So there's no particular reason why it should be part of Spain, other than we've all grown up.
It's always been that way.
With Portugal and Spain looking like the head of a lion or whatever.
Yep, and the reason why it is the way it is because people like things the way they are. They don't like change, and so people who are Spanish loyalists came out in large numbers, thousands, over the last week to protest in favor of Catalonia staying put, while the Catalonians, many of them, have been protesting in favor of Catalonia leaving. And as you pointed out, Mark, Catalonia is a donor state to the Spanish government. They put in a whole lot more than they get back out from the Spanish bureaucracy in Madrid. According to the New York Times, again, for those of you just tuning in, the folks in Catalonia went to go and vote today, or at least they attempted to, but police were there to stop them from even registering their opinion on a non-binding referendum.
Does anybody who's listening, 855-450-3733, think that somebody in Spain who doesn't live in Catalonia's opinion regarding Catalonia secession is relevant in any way, shape, or form?
Good question. You're welcome to answer it at 855-450-FREE.
Right. Like, why should I give a flip about whether or not somebody in, I don't know what particular, the Basque region of Spain or whatever, thinks about Catalonian secession? Now, if they agree that Catalonia should secede, I guess I'm for that, but that's just the agreement of freedom.
Last night the opinion of at least one of our callers was that they were against, remember, they were against California leaving because the United States. Their reason was that they like the United States as is, and they don't want to lose a state from the United States. Otherwise, it wouldn't be the United States anymore to their mind.
I'm of the opinion that the flag shouldn't have 50 stars. It should have 48. I don't think that Alaska and Hawaii really even belong as states. And from an aesthetic standpoint, I think the flag is uglier with 50 stars than it is with 48. Why does my opinion matter?
It doesn't.
Other than, I suppose, any state should be able to secede. My opinion isn't backed up with the force of guns.
That's a good point.
If somebody's opinion is that a state shouldn't be able to leave, then someone's opinion is backed up with the force of violence, I guess.
Correct.
So if you live in a state and you want to stay part of the United States, or you want to leave, I don't really particularly care. I do think that a state or province or whatever, if it chooses to leave a given, the status quo, whatever their status quo might be, it should be more than 50%. It should be something like 66% or something like that if people would like to leave. I think it should just be a super majority of voters.
There are already signs that Catalonia's threat to fracture the country is changing the democracy there, and that the clashes on Sunday, that is today, will further polarize and harden supporters on both sides. Because of the tensions today, FC Barcelona, the soccer club, played a match behind closed doors in its Camp Nou stadium, where the opposing Spanish team came with special uniforms emblazoned with the Spanish flag, something unusual here. Yet none of the tension or lack of support, Scotland and Venezuela were among the few backers of the referendum, has dimmed aspirations for independence in Catalonia.
Now, we know why Scotland would support the referendum. Why would Venezuela care whether Catalonia
I don't know. It's a good question.
Could secede from the state?
Maybe they're hoping for a handout
Spain.
Maybe they're hoping Catalonia will break away and then give them money, because Venezuela loves to get handouts from more successful communist nations.
When they say Scotland supports it, who are they talking about, I wonder? The Prime Minister of Scotland?
Yeah, probably the governments.
And I've been looking for what the take is on the bindingness of this referendum from the organizers of the referendum, and I can't figure out who they are either.
None of the tensions or lack of support has dimmed aspirations for independence in Catalonia, a prosperous region with a distinct language, history, and culture. Yearnings for a separate state have ebbed and flowed for generations, but rose in recent years as Catalans complained that Madrid was unfairly siphoning off their wealth and denying them the right to choose their own political destiny. Which is, by the way, basically the argument of every separatist, independence movement everywhere, and it's a good one. Like this massive centralized government is inefficient. They're bureaucratic. They're rude. They're mean. They're nasty, and we don't want anything to do with them. Why should we have to have anything to do with them? And the same thing's true here in the United States. I want nothing to do with Washington D.C., and I think New Hampshire and Texas and California and every other state government or people of those states who wants to leave the United States should absolutely be able to do so, and we'd all be better off.
So I like the United States federal government for a few reasons and dislike it for a whole bunch more. I like it because you can travel state to state without having to show papers, unless you're going to California, in which case they want to shake you down to see whether you get fruit in your car. But nonetheless, the rest of the states, you don't have to go through any kind of bureaucracy to travel state to state. That's awesome.
Unless you're driving a truck, in which case they have way stations all over the place.
That's true. And that's the other thing is that largely commerce goes on state to state relatively without tariffs and those sorts of things. And that supposedly was a problem under the Articles of Confederation. I like it for that. I like that there's less of the sort of inefficiencies of repetition with the military. So, every state doesn't have to have its military built up. Rhode Island doesn't have to worry or care if Connecticut decides they need a few more troops or another big gun built or whatever it is. You don't see that competition in there. So from those standpoints, I like the United States federal government. But from the standpoint of, an income tax, all the ways that the federal government hands money to states to get it to do things, because the federal government doesn't have it has more, just as many ways that it rewards states for doing what it wants as it does penalizing people for not doing what it wants. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So the federal government, if it wants states to have seatbelts, it'll hand your state several $1 million to pass a law that says that you have to have seatbelts. The federal government...
We have seatbelts here, but some people use them and some people don't.
To wear them, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The federal government doesn't mandate that you wear seatbelts. So, and I'm surprised, but they don't. And so that's a carrot as opposed to a stick, and it's the carrot given to the state so that they will then apply the stick.
Maybe because the federal government doesn't have any real way of enforcing that. You know, they don't have federal troops patrolling the streets generally in the United States.
Not like Canada, right?
To make those arrests.
Gentlemen, I think it's safe to say that the leader of the referendum movement is probably the current government. They're an autonomous government, a semi-autonomous government, and the president of the Generalitat is a name that is in the news. I'm not going to pronounce it right. Carlos Puigdemont.
Yeah, it's a French. It looks like a French name to me.
Well, they said that was their own language. Catalans had their own distinct language.
The Madrid,
which I'm not familiar with at all.
Government declared the referendum unconstitutional, ordered the vote suspended, but that did not stop Catalans from lining up before sunrise today, massing on rain-slick streets in towns and cities across the region. Mario Pupillo, age 54, said, quotes, Spain has shown us today its ugliest and darkest face, that which we really thought had disappeared 40 years ago. You simply can't use violence against people who just want to vote, unquote. Despite the police...
I'd agree with him that, regardless of what Spain hoped to do, they probably... changed some people's minds for the worse.
They sure did. Yeah, they did not look good bringing in armed thugs, to try to stop people from voting. Despite the police threat, Mr. Pupillo, who uses a wheelchair, said he went to vote, quote, to make sure this was our feast of democracy, not our humiliation at the hands of a Spanish state that believes in repression, unquote. Voters like him made the turnout of an extraordinary show of determination in the face of a steady drumbeat of threats from Madrid. Though it was far from clear that Sunday's vote would yield a reliable result, both sides quickly claimed victory and victimization. I'll tell you more about what happened in Catalonia today, and you can share your thoughts with us here. Our number, 855-450, free like freedom, 855-450-3733. Hour 2's coming up. Free Talk Live.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io. The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, October 1st, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.65 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,279 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.2 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,280. Antiwar.com reports, once again reflecting general U.S. support for the status quo in national boundaries, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson insisted the U.S. would not recognize the results of Iraqi Kurdistan's referendum from earlier in the week. Kurdistan voted to secede with over 92% in favor, a vote with massive turnout. Tillerson insisted the vote lacks legitimacy, specifically complaining that it was conducted unilaterally without permission from the Iraqi central government, and adding that the U.S. supports a heavily unified Iraq, yet the accuracy of the numbers are not in question, at least not in any relevant way. Iraqi Kurdistan has long been known to have an overwhelming majority supporting secession, and the vote just reflected that. Rather, the U.S. sees its deep investment in ties to Iraq potentially being wasted by Iraq losing its regional significance with Kurdish independence. Moreover, the Trump administration has repeatedly gone on the record in opposition to secession movements in general, having also criticized the Catalonia vote. Tillerson did, however, urge the whole nation to avoid the use of force. That's something, at least, since Iraq, Iran, and Turkey all seem to be preparing for war against Kurdistan to bring it back under Baghdad's thumb. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports a Pennsylvania-based tree trimming company was ordered to pay a record $95 million fine for hiring thousands of immigrants who did not have permission to work in the United States. Federal prosecutors said Asplund Tree Experts, which employs about 30,000 people in the United States, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, hired thousands of workers who were in the United States illegally or who did not have work visas. Furthermore, the privately owned company's hiring structure enabled top management to remain willfully ignorant of the hiring practices. Homeland Security investigators began auditing Asplund's hiring practices in 2009. Eventually, Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers determined thousands of the company workers were hired improperly and handed the company a list of names for those whom were hired illegally. Asplund fired hundreds of workers and scores more quit before they could be fired and promised ICE it would reform its hiring practices. Instead of doing so, prosecutors alleged the company doubled down on the hiring strategy, bringing back many of the workers it let go, provided the individuals were able to secure forged or stolen documents that would enable the company to appear as though they had followed the law. Prosecutors also say the company specifically sought to hire undocumented workers because their salaries were lower than those who were legally in the country, and the general lack of family ties in the country made them more mobile. In response to Friday's judgment, Asplund released a statement apologizing for its actions. The company said executives accept responsibility for the charges as outlined and apologize to our customers, associates, and all other stakeholders for what has occurred. When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more. Reuters reports President Donald Trump on Saturday placed blame squarely on Puerto Ricans for the slow recovery from Hurricane Maria after critics and the mayor of San Juan complained his administration's response to the U.S. territory's plight was insufficient. 11 days after the devastating storm wiped out and communication systems, more than half of the 3.4 million people on the island do not have access to drinking water, and 95% remain without power, according to the U.S. Defense Department. Trump, who plans to visit the island on Tuesday, fired off a series of angry tweets from his private golf club in New Jersey, taking aim at the mayor of San Juan, the island's capital and largest city. On Friday, Carmen Yulín Cruz criticized Trump's administration and begged for more help, a plea that received widespread television coverage in the mainland United States. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
The call just came in over the police radio. Yeah, right here. It's just me, my producer, Glenn, and a camera. Buckle up. We don't know where in the mall the shots were fired. We don't know what's going on. Looks like a security guard. I'm going to see what he knows. Turns out he wasn't a security guard. He was just a guy in a blue suit. We still have zero information. Where do we go next? I have no idea. My gut says that way. Come on. I see an ambulance. Confirmed ambulance site. You'll see the space by the curb where an ambulance was parked just moments ago.
You have any idea where the shooter is?
I was being stonewalled by police, but I couldn't let that stop me. I spoke to a woman who said that she saw a man being escorted through the mall by police. Could this be the shooter? According to the description, he was a male, aged somewhere between 20 and 60. He's either Caucasian or part Latino or something like that. He was wearing some kind of a jacket. I wrote something else here, but he got smudged. However, that information later turned out to be false. The shooter, if there is one, remains at large. Needless to say, our thoughts are with the victims here today, if there are any, which we don't know yet.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. Dial on in toll free and join us on the radio. Our number here, 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, that's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype, and Skype username here is LRN.FM. You can join us, talk about anything you want, though I think this Catalan secession story is pretty big news. We were wondering last night what was going to happen today where Catalan government, or excuse me, the Catalan people wanted to have a non-binding referendum today where they could vote to just let it be known how the people felt about the idea of secession, about Catalonia leaving Spain. And the Spanish government wanted nothing to do with it. Well, they wanted a lot to do with stopping the vote. They wanted nothing to do with allowing the vote to go forward. So they declared it illegal at the national level. They threatened arrest and actually did arrest, I think, some mayors in the Catalan region.
That'll fix everything. That'll make people feel better represented by their central government.
They came in today and blocked off access to as many polling locations as they possibly could, shooting rubber bullets at protesters, using truncheons against them. These are people, not just protesters, but people trying to vote. So we'll tell you more about that. You can also share your thoughts with us. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. The Catalan authorities, according to the New York Times, maintained that the balloting had proceeded in almost three-quarters of polling stations and seemed determined to use the vote as further evidence of the legitimacy of their claim for a separate nation, while Spanish authorities accused the separatist government of irresponsibly encouraging voters to violate Spanish law and declared that the referendum had been successfully disrupted. Mr. Rajoy said, quote, "If there's something to conclude from today, it is the strength of Spain's democratic state." This is the propaganda minister for Spain. He further said, quote, "We have acted within the law, and only within the law.
Because we write it.
Right. And we have shown that our democratic state has resources to defend itself against such a serious attack." That's what they consider this.
Yeah.
An attack. To allow people to simply say, speak their mind.
It is an attack. You got to nip this stuff in the bud. What happens after? There's obviously gonna be some fallout if there's they say somebody is saying it's non-binding. The journalists are saying that on the strength of the fact that the Spanish government has declared it illegal. But when they get a majority, then there's going to be a next step.
Sure, it's called leaving.
Yeah, and you can't let that happen.
But, I mean, that's how crazy it is to call somebody walking away an attack is an insane bastardization of what, an attack actually is.
Well,
maybe it's an attack on their legitimacy.
It's an overreaction to...
the Spanish government is overreacting.
A non-binding vote, and that results in simply proving the point of the people that were trying to have the non-binding vote in the first place.
Right. The Spanish government would have been best off.
Strategically, this is a terrible idea.
From the government's, the federal government's perspective.
Right. You couldn't have made to order. The Catalans couldn't have made to order anything better.
Right.
How many Catalans died today?
I don't know.
None from what other than from this action. Catalans died today. But from this action, best we can tell, none died.
Okay.
So you have, this extreme show of force where the Spanish government brings in all these cops. The Catalans still go vote. the cops were unsuccessful and no one was harmed. There was
hundreds of people were harmed. There were a lot of injuries.
Yeah, right. No one died. There were some injuries, but there were some cops were injured too. I'm not saying that they should have been. I'm just saying that they were. So there's a little bit, just enough of a scuffle to show that the cops were serious. It's not like they didn't sit around like they did in the Russian revolutions and take sides with the proletariat. So I think this was good for the Catalans.
Yeah, absolutely. The better move from the Spanish government would have been to ignore this completely, but no, they had to go and look like this was the most critical strike against the Spanish state that has ever occurred, and maybe it was. Soraya Sáenz de Santa Maria, Spain's deputy prime minister, later praised Spanish police for blocking a vote that, quote, couldn't be celebrated and wasn't celebrated, unquote. She told a news conference that the Catalan government had acted, quote, with absolute irresponsibility, which had to be overcome by the professionalism of the security forces. According to the story, after the extent of the crackdown became apparent, Ada Colau, the left-wing mayor of Barcelona, called on Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy to resign over his cowardly and unjustified police intervention. Overnight, Catalans had used tractors to block police access to some rural municipalities so that the vote could go on. In other places, residents removed the doors of the polling stations to ensure that the police could not bolt them on Sunday. As Sunday approached, the Madrid government tried everything it could to thwart the referendum, disabling the internet, confiscating ballots, detaining some officials, and threatening scores more with prosecution. The vote took place anyway, in an atmosphere of cat and mouse and in improvised conditions, with a disputed census used as the voting list. Catalan officials instead relied on privately printed ballots and changed the voting rules an hour before polls were scheduled to open. And the rule change allowed voters to cast a ballot at any polling station. So normally when you go vote in the United States, you have a specific polling station that, they've got your name on record, and that's where you're supposed to go and vote. But if you go up and there's armed guards standing out front who are threatening you with, a bullet in the head or possible thrown in a cage.
I have gone to a polling station with an armed guard out front.
Did he threaten you with a bullet in the head?
No,
you tried to go vote?
No, he was very kind.
So if you're being intimidated from actually voting at your official polling station, well, they changed the rules to say that you can just go to any old polling station. So that made it easier for people to,
sounds a lot
get
easier.
Their vote done.
Finally, the government's making it easier to vote.
Right.
It only takes the government to argue with the government in order to make it easier to vote.
So Enrique Miló, the Spanish government's representative in Catalonia, said the last-minute change turned what was already an illegal referendum into a joke. Mr. Miló deplored the fact that the national police were forced to take over from Catalan police officers.
What are we going to do?
Who failed to stop the voting. We're being forced to do what we didn't want to do, he said. So this is a typical government statement, is when the government uses
that and
violence.
Abusive father.
Yeah. When the government uses violence against you, they blame you for it. Oh, well, you put us into this position. You're the ones who are making us use these truncheons against you. You're the ones who are forcing us to shoot tear gas into crowds and attack old women. You're forcing us to do this by being so disobedient. I mean, that's the perspective here.
Why, Catalans? Why would you do this to us?
Yeah, and it's not something uncommon at all. You hear this in court. I've heard it from Judge Burke right here in Keene, that if you do X, then he'll be forced to do Y because, well, you didn't do what he told you to do, so therefore he has to use violence against you. You're forcing my hand. I don't want to be choking the life out of you, but you made me do it. I mean, that excuse doesn't fly if you're actually in the defendant's chair, right? Like if you murder somebody and you say, well, I told them that I was going to murder them if they, didn't give me the $20 back, then that's not going to cut it.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I'm with Spain on this one.
How's that?
Well,
because you're against voting.
That's what's making me think so long and hard about it. But I mean, all of us here know that a vote a vote represents something. It's a number that means something. Nobody really knows what that number signifies.
Sure, because how many people actually showed up to vote?
And what was influencing them? I mean, there were police in the streets, both pro and con. There were people who didn't want like I said before, didn't want the vote to have any legitimacy. So the number that comes out of it is always suspect of something, no matter where you are.
It won't be accepted by everyone.
The numbers that we get nobody really knows exactly what they mean. It's not a majority. So Spain, in order to prevent some strange perversion, I won't put it that way. So Spain, there's an outcome that could happen that is not based on what the people want. So they need to stop it before the people in Spain the people in Catalonia who don't want that to happen, they don't need to have that forced on them.
The perverted outcome came once they decided to bring troops into a foreign territory.
Got to nip it in the bud.
That's when the perversion occurred. And I'll make my argument in a minute.
All right, toll-free number here, 855-450, free like freedom. You join us on the radio here. It's Free Talk Live.
Book Club Radio.
Today we're chatting with Mike Papantonio, leading trial lawyer and prolific author. His latest novel, Law and Vengeance, is a non-stop, action-packed legal thriller. We spoke with him about the book and the real-life issues that inform and inspire his writing.
You would think, especially in the legal profession, that women should have every opportunity to excel. The glass ceiling in the practice of law is no different anywhere else. Over the years, I've worked with some of the most talented female trial lawyers, and Gina Romano is kind of a composite of that. You know, she has the tenacity, she has the compassion, she has the intellect, she has the training, she just has it all. And when I really see a very talented female trial lawyer, that's what I see. So she's a creation from all that. People that I've actually tried cases with and women I've tried cases against. And that's where Gina Romano comes from.
On the heels of the critically acclaimed legal thriller, Law and Disorder, comes Law and Vengeance, the latest novel from famed trial attorney Mike Papantonio. Law and Vengeance follows the law firm of Bergman Dichotomus, who is now in the crosshairs of a weapons manufacturer. But this is not a law firm that plays by all the rules. Based on a real case, Law and Vengeance, the riveting new legal thriller by Mike Papantonio, is available wherever books are sold.
Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial toll-free. Join us right here. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and the Skype username is LRN.FM. Earlier, when we were traveling a little bit with traveling with Will Coley today, he was looking at some of the headlines about the Catalan vote, which was attempted to be stopped by violence on the part of the Madrid government in Spain. It was said that Catalan firemen had formed a line to protect voters from the police, and police were attacking the Catalan firemen in at least one polling location. So
That's going to get him the hose.
Things are getting pretty crazy out there. We'll share more. You can share your thoughts with us. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And if you want to help build a better financial system for everyone, check out Dash. Dash is digital cash. It's a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast, it can be private and easy. Fees are low, and transactions are quick and can even be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies on the dollar, and Dash is decentralized and run by users who are earning rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network. So join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today. You can find out more at dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash right now, so go to dash.org and find out why. As we go to Ricky in Pennsylvania on Skype. Hello, Ricky.
That's the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania there, brother Ian. Good evening.
What's on your mind? I don't know why you always laugh at that part.
Because I just want you to say, here it's Ricky in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Just one time.
Oh,
we
you
gotta
want
be
me to say
legal
it
here,
too?
brother Ian.
Okay. What now?
We got to be legal.
Okay. Do what you need to. Go ahead. Why are you calling about it?
I have some concerns. I mentioned a couple nights back about this jackass Gene Stilp, this so-called activist from the Commonwealth. I use that loosely as a member of the Commonwealth.
I don't know who that is.
Well, I told you. I sent you a link, Ian, last time.
I don't read the things that you send. I'm sorry.
Ricky, one thing that's important to note is that part of our job is to be able to represent the listener, right? So if Ian knows this information about this person, then you don't have to explain who this person is. And you need to explain because there are people listening who have no clue about the link you sent Ian. So go right ahead.
I don't even have any clue about
fine.
it.
I can do that. I can do that.
Do it briefly.
I do have. Well, I will make it brief. He's a so-called activist, very creative. Doesn't have a hell of a lot of substance behind his crap. He ran for a spot in the House back in 2014 as a Democrat and lost. And that was kind of the end of that. And he does a lot of crazy stuff as far as activism. Very creative. He's the jackass that protested, quote, the Bloomsburg Fair with his combination Nazi flag and Confederate flag. Well, that's okay. He hasn't gone away yet. Over the weekend, he decided to go to Dover Speedway and protest NASCAR. Do the same thing.
Okay. What did NASCAR do to him?
I guess because
was he assuming that rednecks go to NASCAR and the fair?
Well, no, it's just the fact that I guess in Stilp's eyes, he wants to educate people on the true meaning between these flags and why it's important they're together. And as far as
which
NASCAR,
flags?
Nazi and
the
Confederate.
Nazi flag, the Confederate flag.
Okay.
He's a jackass. You know.
Okay.
I'm sure there are people that feel that those flags should be together. All right.
Well, Well, I don't know why. I mean, I think about when the Berlin Wall went down. You know, they weren't waving Nazi flags. They were waving Confederate flags. Now, I'd like to hear still
when the Berlin Wall went down. Is that true?
Take a look at it.
Why would they have been waving Confederate flags when the Berlin Wall went down?
Because that flag stands for freedom and independence. That's what it stands for. And I dare anybody listening to Ricky from the Commonwealth to show me that flag stands for more than that. I want to see somebody show me that flag stands for slavery. I want to see somebody show that flag stands.
Well, everybody has their own opinions about flags, and thanks for the call tonight. I don't care either. Everybody's got their own opinions about what flags stand for, and you can't really show anyone anything about your opinion. You can just tell them. You can just say, "Oh, I believe the flag stands for the United States," or "I believe the flag stands for the freedom that we have here in the in America. I believe the flag stands for whatever." Everybody's got their own story about what the flag means to them.
It's a symbol, and as a symbol, it is not particularly.
It's subject to interpretation.
Yeah, fine communication.
Correct.
It is obtuse communication. I do look here, and I have. I've seen some Confederate flags when I look up flags at the Berlin Wall.
No kidding.
But that doesn't mean that the flags are at the Berlin Wall.
Wait, so I thought you were looking at pictures. You're not.
I am looking at pictures. I'm just seeing a return of mostly I'm seeing what appear to be German flags. But
so you're seeing pictures from the takedown of the Berlin Wall, and you're seeing German flags.
When in the search for pictures. What I said, for the search that I made, there, the flags at the Berlin Wall, I do find some Confederate flags in the search.
You're just talking about they're coming back with Confederate flag images in your Google image search?
That's correct.
Not that there were actually pictures of people waving Confederate flags from the fall of the wall. Because that's what it made it sound like Ricky was saying, right?
I agree. I don't I haven't been able to search everything. I would have been interested to see what was clearly a Confederate flag at what was clearly the Berlin Wall.
But you cannot find that.
And a quick Google search did not come up with that.
I don't buy it. I don't buy that the people of West or East Berlin would have been thinking real hard about the Confederacy at that time.
I might agree with Ricky that the Confederate flag seems like a symbol of
a flag of freedom,
a flag of rebellion.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I could possibly.
There's a picture.
I could possibly buy that.
I got a picture. Fine.
There really is one.
Confederate flag, unless somebody put it in there, did what Photoshop or whatever. But yeah, sure. I found one. And when I looked Confederate flag, Berlin Wall, then I found one.
Now you know.
I heard from a schoolmate once that when they were touring Europe at the Berlin Wall, there was some graffiti. There was a University of North Carolina Chapel Hill Go Heels painted on the Berlin Wall in blue.
Are you telling me there wasn't Roll Tide?
If there was Go Heels, then I'm guessing sure that was there somewhere
had
too.
To put it in there, yeah.
Wow. I just watched a video of a police officer doing a flying kick down a stairwell, attacking voters in Catalonia. I mean, these people are being pretty ridiculous in how they're treating just average folks who are just simply trying to vote in this non-binding referendum. The people of Catalonia coming out today. Will Coley just handed me a story here that I actually already had pulled up in show prep. It is from, let's see here, I think it was the BBC. Yeah, a Catalan referendum. Catalonia has won the right to statehood. Now, of course, that's coming from one of their supporters. The toll-free number here is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. I suspect the official position of the government in Madrid is going to not be that they've won their right to secession. But we'll tell you more about what happened as it continues to develop in Spain.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. I'm here to tell you about GCNtelecare.com, a team of board-certified doctors assisting you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Within 15 minutes of registration, care your family can afford. Revolutionizing the healthcare industry, virtual consulting providing diagnosis of non-emergency medical issues by phone or secure video on computer or smart mobile devices. GCNtelecare.com. Virtual care anywhere.
Anytime, any place, anywhere. Radio remains the most intimate of all forms of media. At home, at work, in the car, on smartphones. Over 90% of consumers still listen to radio every week. That makes choosing radio as a place to advertise your business one of the best decisions you can make. Email advertise@gcnlive.com and partner up with an experienced GCN representative. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
Hi, I'm Montel Williams. Most of you know me as a talk show host, but I'm also an author, actor, single father of 4, a fitness writer, avid snowboarder, and I'm also a medical marijuana patient. Like many of the million people who are living with multiple sclerosis, I'm in pain every single day. And sometimes my nerves are so raw that if you brushed up against me in an elevator, I'd scream. I can't sleep at night from the pain, and sometimes the spasms in my legs are so intense they will wake me up throughout the night. I've tried the strongest prescription medications available, and I'm going to tell you, they do not work. In fact, they leave me in a stupor, and most of the time, it's impossible to even live your life. Now, I've tried medical marijuana, and I'm going to tell you something, it works. If you'd like more information about medical marijuana, you can contact the Marijuana Policy Project at mpp.org or call 1-877-JOIN-MPP.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live Sunday edition of the program. As always, you can join us right here on the radio waves. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And you can Skype in at Skype username LRN.FM. Joining you tonight, it's Ian,
Jonny Ray,
and Mark. Blink Home Security System is it's really easy. In order to have protection for your home, all you have to do is go right on the website. I'm going to give it here in just 1 second. And I got my Blink Home Security System delivered right to my door. It's all I had to do is go download the app to my phone. It walked me right through the setup and pairing the devices and all that stuff. It took me 10 minutes, and I have kind of a complicated router system, so that it was just easy. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras when I have it set up. So there's a schedule, and I can just check when I feel like it, I can check any of these cameras. I can just log on, see what's going on in my house, see if the dog's tearing the couch apart or whatever might be going on. And we've got a great deal for you. You can get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge for 1, plus 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. And there's been a huge response through our link, and I want to thank everybody who's gone. blinkprotect.com/FTL. I think you'll be as happy as I've been with the product. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
All right, so we've been talking about the Catalan independence vote that happened today. It was a non-binding referendum, but the Spanish government acted as though this was the death of their entire state, of the entire nation-state of Spain. And indeed, I mean, their legitimacy is really under fire here, but only because of what they've done to themselves.
Right.
They're the ones who are literally attacking voters. They first threatened the voters and attempted to get them to leave nicely, which, of course, it's always, whenever the government's acting nice, there's always somebody with a gun nearby who is more than willing to use it, or in this case, truncheons, as it was described in the New York Times. And I just watched a video over on, I think it was the Guardian's website, of voters literally just straight up being attacked by the police. I mean, it's pretty scary stuff. So kudos to these voters who came out under heavy threat of violence and actual violence to try to
Flying
stop
kicks from cops.
Yeah, like a cop literally jumps down a stairwell doing a drop kick against a voter. I mean, it's just crazy. We had firemen who were attacked in Catalonia for trying to protect the voters. Firemen were attacked by the Spanish police. Some videos, according to the New York Times, posted on social media showed arguments and some tussling between Spanish National Police and the Catalan police. The Catalan police also intervened in Barcelona's main downtown square to prevent clashes between separatists and a small group of far-right partisans of Spain. A few outsiders had traveled to Catalonia from other countries to act as observers, saying they wanted to make sure the police did not use force against voters. Well, they did. Dimitri Rupel, a former minister of Slovenia, led a delegation of 35 foreign officials invited by the Catalan government. After watching the police intervene, he said that, quote, "the police have nothing to do with the democratic process and they shouldn't be here," unquote. Others compared the situation in Catalonia with that in their own independence-minded regions, precisely what has concerned European Union officials and neighboring governments. Andrea Favro, an Italian lawyer who waited inside a polling station early on Sunday, said, quote, "every person in the world should have the right to decide their present and future," which of course means the right to vote.
Every person in the world should have the right to decide their present and future. And that, of course, includes the right to vote.
That's what he said, yeah.
Now, how does the right to vote mean that you have the right to decide your present and future? I mean, the vote by its very nature means that other people get to decide your present and future, right? I mean, that's its very, very nature. Look, I don't think voting is this great thing. I don't think there's anything wrong morally with participating in it. But, that is a ludicrous statement.
Well, if voting changed anything, they'd make it illegal.
I think it changes things, but that's a fun quote by people who don't want to vote, I guess.
No, that's actually I don't think that's a quote necessarily by people who don't want to vote.
Emma Goldman, you think she's a big voter?
It's a quote by people who, is that who said that?
Yeah.
It's a quote, in my opinion, by people who see the futility largely of voting, and for the most part, it is a futile process. But here you do have an example of where that is absolutely true. That statement: if voting changed anything, they'd make it illegal. Well, that's what they did. The Spanish government, the Supreme Court, made this vote illegal.
So it must do something.
Right. Well, it was just a non-binding referendum. By its own nature, it was not designed to change anything, but it could possibly have changed people's minds. It could have resulted in people making up their minds. When given the opportunity to vote on this, that might have given people who would have been on the fence a reason to think about this a little further. And certainly the Spanish government, who did target the voters, who did threaten people, they might have pushed people off of that fence and pushed them away from them. So to some extent, this vote,
I'm sure that happened,
was meaningful, even though it was just a non-binding referendum, and that's why they tried to stop it. Recent opinion polls suggests that slightly less than half of Catalonia's 7.5 million people support separation from Spain, but separatist parties won a majority in the region's parliament in 2015, and their influence has grown. Many say Catalonia would face a perilous and uncertain future outside of Spain, the market for most of the region's goods, and would not be assured of being readmitted into the European Union. Others complain the thrust for independence has deepened divisions within the region, whose vibrant economy has attracted families from inside and outside of Spain. Olga Nojeda, a doctor in Centellas, said one of her patients, an older man, began crying in her examination room and explained that his granddaughter had begun expressing dislike for Spaniards. He said he was very sad because he didn't understand where it all came from. He migrated to Catalonia many years ago from Seville, and he was wondering if his granddaughter was aware that he was a Spaniard. The toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE, like freedom.
So this is like when you stay in a relationship too long. I think a lot of people will agree with it. When you feel like you're forced to stay in a relationship too long, that's when the contempt starts. Mm-hmm. It's one of the reasons I think that the breakups, if you're going to do them, they should be done relatively early on, before everybody hates everybody else,
or before you pop out some kids.
Well, in many cases, it's the breakups happen after the kids anyway.
Yep, that's true.
And you don't see it coming, or whatever might occur. So this is what's happening here: is these the Catalans, the Spanish government's making so difficult for the Catalans to go off on their own and do their own thing. Catalans wouldn't hate Spaniards, if that's what this man's experiencing here. They wouldn't hate Spaniards if Spain, the government, not the people, decided to let them. Oh, you guys want to go and make it on your own? Well, let's have a vote. Let's make sure everything's above board and fair, and we'll abide by it. We think it should be 66% of people. That's 2/3. And if you can get 2/3 of people to think it's a good idea, then by all means. I would like, before we have this vote, we'd like to point out all the things that Spain brings to Catalonia. And here's the list. That would be the way to go about this.
Well, that introduces the risk that you're going to lose that cash that's coming in.
Sure.
And it's much easier just to administer a few beatings until they forget about it.
Right. Spend some of the money that they're giving you and to oppress them and stop them.
I think that the people who matter the most in what's going to happen there are the people in and around Spain and Catalonia. And though these images are going out to the world, and probably a lot of us are disquieted by it, our opinions don't really matter. And what could be a majority of the people in Catalonia, according to some of the numbers we've heard, they want to stay with Spain. They might be heartened by these images. And,
of the police kicking people and
precisely
using truncheons and
so I think it's
rubber bullets.
It's likely that Spain is doing what the smartest thing they can do.
Well, that's an interesting theory. You can share your calls and thoughts with us here. You want to weigh in on the Spanish government and their reaction to the threat of secession. And of course, another question ultimately is, what would the U.S. government's reaction be to a state here in the United States saying, we're going to leave? What are you going to do about it? More coming up here, Free Talk Live.
From the first letter of Captain Mark. History is full of flowery documents claiming to limit the power of the crown, but these poetic social contracts have been impotent to prevent the predation. Limited government is a lie they use to keep us submissive. The crown cannot be trusted to abide by its founding charters, nor its treaties, nor even its own rules. The essence of the crown is centralized violence, and I've had enough. That's why I raised my black banner. I am no revolutionary. My aim is not to reset the cycle of violence, but to break it. My aim is an evolved society, invisible to the crown. Not a new hierarchy, but decentralized networks with no central figure for the crown to target. If you want your servile life, keep it, but we will not submit to the crown's agenda. And when you are ready to stop being its beast of burden, ready for adventure and opportunity, join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun. which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. $39.95 plus shipping and handling. Use discount code GCN and receive 15% off your purchase at bugasalt.com. Fire your fly swatter and get your Bug Assault today.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Imagine, if you will, a virtual world, a symbiotic economy with its own currency, where you can barter your services with others. Symbi.com is a marketplace of real people exchanging skills and services, from web developers, marketers, video production specialists, and teachers of all sorts, to gaming consulting or fitness coaching. Symbi.com is a vast world of people trading freely. Take my word for it, it's an adventure you can't afford to miss. Simbi.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You dial in toll-free here. Bring up whatever you want. Our number is 855-450. Free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We just got an update off the air from Daryl W. Perry, who says that the numbers coming out of Catalonia appears that perhaps as many as 40% of Catalans did participate in today's vote, where over 90% are said to have voted in favor of Catalan independence from Spain. We'll tell you more about it. You can share your calls and thoughts with us, and want to let you know about Freedom's Phoenix. It's a great site to go to if you care about freedom. If you want the latest news and freshest stories and perspectives on current events from those who value liberty, then freedomsphoenix.com has that for you. In fact, they also have a daily dispatch, which will be sent to your email box, and it'll help you stay up to date on science, technology, historical findings, liberty news, government overspending, and the rise of the police state. It's freedoms with an S, phoenix.com. That's freedomsphoenix.com. The Guardian reporting from inside Catalonia, where Catalans are describing scenes of violence at polling stations on their referendum day, which started with an optimistic mood in Barcelona. Neither the dark nor the rain had put off the thousands of people who got up in the early hours of Sunday to gather at schools around Barcelona in the hope of voting on the independence of Catalonia. Umbrellas were shared, coffees longed for, and old grievances aired. But despite the familiar complaints about the government in Madrid, too selfish, too greedy, too intransigent, there was a sense of optimism too. Huge cheers went up as the sun rose, the rain paused, and plastic ballot boxes were delivered.
New ballot boxes.
After the police had stolen them earlier this week. Members of the Catalan police force, the Mossos d'Esquadra, were greeted with a polite bon dia, even though they were under orders to seal off the polling stations. I presume bon dia means good day. But by mid-morning, the mood had curdled. Images showing the national police force dragging would-be voters away from schools and seizing ballot boxes sprang up on social media, stirring fear and anger. One of the flashpoints was the Escola Ramon Llull, which was stormed by police who smashed through doors and began pulling people out. Marty Pont, age 19, was among the occupants of the school when the National Police arrived. He said, quote, "We all gathered around the front door and kept calm. There were some elderly people, but no kids. Then 15 police in body armor and 5 more wearing balaclavas arrived." You know what a balaclava is, right?
Yeah, it's a mask, so they don't have to be held responsible for their actions.
Right, so you can only see the eyes of the people wearing balaclavas. They started pushing us with their shields and throwing us aside, but there were too many of us. More and more van loads of police arrived from all sides. They started pushing through and pulling people out. Pont said people had been dragged out by their hair or throats and beaten by the police. When he and others got back out to the street, they sat behind the police van so that the officers wouldn't be able to leave. He said, quote, "They started hitting us with truncheons, but didn't use their guns. We met up with another group and the police warned journalists to go away. They ran off and the police started firing rubber bullets. Everyone who could fled, but others got hit in the back and the knee. Everyone went off to find somewhere else to vote." Unquote. And again, the government had, in Catalonia, had changed the rules of voting an hour before polls opened to allow people to go to any polling location. So if they were, up against the cops at one location, they could go to a different one where the police might or might not be. Elisa Aruca had been intending to vote for Catalonia to remain part of Spain. But she changed her mind as she waited outside of the school in central Barcelona, Escuela de Estel. Aruca said she and others were pulled out of the way by national police officers who smashed the door open and removed the ballot boxes.
We will get these ballot boxes.
She told
We'll
the
protect you.
Associated Press, quote, "I was always against independence, but what the Spanish state is doing is making me change my mind."
I don't know whether what this lady says is true, but it's the perfect quote.
No doubt. She further said, "The National Police and Civil Guard are treating us like criminals. I was most likely going to vote no until the National Police sent me flying. Now I will try to vote yes," she said. Although similar incidents were reported around Barcelona and other parts of Catalonia, many people still managed to vote peacefully, if slowly. Josep Magriñaya and his neighbors went to vote at the Escola de la Concepción in Barcelona. Quote, "The attitude was peaceful and serene with a spirit of resistance." He said also, quote, "Older people or people with restricted mobility were given preference in the queue so they would get home soon and not have to suffer any police violence, which we all expected, but which fortunately so far at that polling location had not happened."
It's good news.
The man said food and water was provided to those who needed it, saying that now we're staying to guard our votes as long as necessary, in the fear that the police would show up later and take a full ballot box of already cast votes.
It's a fair concern.
76-year-old retired taxi driver Blai Antonio emerged from the polling station with tears in his eyes. He said, quote, "The experience of being able to vote has given me a satisfaction I could never have dreamed of. Catalan independence is important so that we can live in a democracy, which Spain isn't. We send all our money to the government and get crumbs in return." Not an uncommon sentiment from many people here in this country, living in states that are called donor states, where the states send more money to the federal government than they get back in the various different payouts and programs.
One of those states is California. Imagine how a Democrat in California feels right now when they know, A, they're a donor state, and B, their state made the difference between, was the one that made the difference between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump being voted in from just a gross vote.
Population.
Yeah, population vote sort of standard. But Donald Trump won the Electoral College. I mean, what's it like for those people? Look, if you're just sitting there going, ha ha, thinking about them, you're part of the problem. They should be able to go their own way. Cut those people loose.
Absolutely. Why would you want to keep them?
What does California and Mississippi have in common? Not much.
Nope. Yeah, I don't understand why anybody would want to keep the Union together. It's just some sort of fanciful idea of keeping things the way they are.
I saw a truck today in New Hampshire flying the American flag and the Confederate flag on either side of it. I mean,
how about the ones with "Don't Tread on Me" and a police thin blue line?
A thin blue line, yeah. I mean, basically, I'd like to say this country's too stupid for self-rule, but frankly, I believe that people generally are too stupid for self-rule. I don't think that the average voter is wise enough to decide how other people's lives are going to go. You, dear listener, me, we are barely smart enough to handle our own lives. Why in the world would we have the hubris to handle others?
Such a day, Antonio reflected, would have been impossible under General Francisco Franco's rule in a dig. But in a dig at Spain's ruling People's Party, he added, quote, although his heirs are still in power, unquote. By Sunday lunchtime, Ima Sole had still not voted. After queuing up for hours outside of the Escola Ramon Llull, she and her family were forced to retreat to their flat after the police charged the crowds and fired rubber bullets. Standing in her living room, looking at the image of a woman's bloodied face on television, the 50-year-old education manager felt dejected. She said, quote, today was a key day for independence, and look at what's happened. Tomorrow, they'll probably arrest our leaders, and no one will even notice. Europe has turned its back on us. So that's a little bit of an insight.
They're expecting Europe to come save them now? This is the problem with, countries that don't have a Second Amendment. They want Europe to come save them.
From their own government.
Brussels, please come save us. Come on. These cops were firing rubber bullets at their own citizens at the behest of the central government, preventing a vote that was non-binding. There is no defense here of that behavior.
The question is, though, what does come next? I mean, is she right? What's the next move of the Madrid government? Are they going to continue the crackdown? It would seem that they would. I mean, that's their playbook here. They're not going to back down from their position. They're going to have to double down at this point. And what's that going to mean? What's it going to look like over the next week? Because, again, both sides, as was mentioned in the New York Times article, are claiming victory. You've got the independence folks who are saying, hey, we got 90%. 90% voted, but the other side's going to be like, well, yeah, but it was non-binding.
But we sent your cops to kick the teeth out of your grandparents so they wouldn't go vote. Aha! Yeah. I mean, what?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Nuts.
It is crazy. So what do you think's going to happen next year? You can share your thoughts. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Coming up, we're going to change gears. We've been talking a lot about secession, and I think we pretty much have finished the story, although I'm sure there's more stories to be told from the various different polling locations in Catalonia if you want to share them. If you've found something that we haven't, you're certainly welcome to join us here at 855-450-FREE. But, Mark, I wanted to hear your story about the penises.
The guy that's got a whole bunch of them
he was working in a morgue or something, right?
Yeah,
or a funeral home?
It's really gross.
So we're going to get into that here. It might be a little unpleasant, but that's what's on the way. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Not as unpleasant as a national government using truncheons against peaceful voters, though. We'll continue here. Hour 3's on the way. This is Free Talk Live.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, October 1st, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.65 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,279 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.2 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,280. Antiwar.com reports, once again reflecting general U.S. support for the status quo in national boundaries, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson insisted the U.S. would not recognize the results of Iraqi Kurdistan's referendum from earlier in the week. Kurdistan voted to secede with over 92% in favor, a vote with massive turnout. Tillerson insisted the vote lacks legitimacy, specifically complaining that it was conducted unilaterally without permission from the Iraqi central government, and adding that the U.S. supports a heavily unified Iraq, yet the accuracy of the numbers are not in question, at least not in any relevant way. Iraqi Kurdistan has long been known to have an overwhelming majority supporting secession, and the vote just reflected that. Rather, the U.S. sees its deep investment in ties to Iraq potentially being wasted by Iraq losing its regional significance with Kurdish independence. Moreover, the Trump administration has repeatedly gone on the record in opposition to secession movements in general, having also criticized the Catalonia vote. Tillerson did, however, urge the whole nation to avoid the use of force. That's something, at least, since Iraq, Iran, and Turkey all seem to be preparing for war against Kurdistan to bring it back under Baghdad's thumb. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports a Pennsylvania-based tree trimming company was ordered to pay a record $95 million fine for hiring thousands of immigrants who did not have permission to work in the United States. Federal prosecutors said Asplund Tree Experts, which employs about 30,000 people in the United States, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, hired thousands of workers who were in the United States illegally or who did not have work visas. Furthermore, the privately owned company's hiring structure enabled top management to remain willfully ignorant of the hiring practices. Homeland Security investigators began auditing Asplund's hiring practices in 2009. Eventually, Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers determined thousands of the company workers were hired improperly and handed the company a list of names for those whom were hired illegally. Asplund fired hundreds of workers and scores more quit before they could be fired and promised ICE it would reform its hiring practices. Instead of doing so, prosecutors alleged the company doubled down on the hiring strategy, bringing back many of the workers it let go, provided the individuals were able to secure forged or stolen documents that would enable the company to appear as though they had followed the law. Prosecutors also say the company specifically sought to hire undocumented workers because their salaries were lower than those who were legally in the country, and the general lack of family ties in the country made them more mobile. In response to Friday's judgment, Asplund released a statement apologizing for its actions. The company said executives accept responsibility for the charges as outlined and apologize to our customers, associates, and all other stakeholders for what has occurred. When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more. Reuters reports President Donald Trump on Saturday placed blame squarely on Puerto Ricans for the slow recovery from Hurricane Maria after critics and the mayor of San Juan complained his administration's response to the U.S. territory's plight was insufficient. 11 days after the devastating storm wiped out power, water, and communication systems, more than half of the 3.4 million people on the island do not have access to drinking water, and 95% remain without power, according to the U.S. Defense Department. Trump, who plans to visit the island on Tuesday, fired off a series of angry tweets from his private golf club in New Jersey, taking aim at the mayor of San Juan, the island's capital and largest city. On Friday, Carmen Yulín Cruz criticized Trump's administration and begged for more help, a plea that received widespread television coverage in the mainland United States. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
It was a big night for music's hottest acts, especially for Lord Chillingsworth. In a shocking upset, the young artist took home the spookiest Halloween sound effect album Grammy for Creepy Night in Halloween Manor. Music blogger Ty Vaughn is here. Ty, what a shocker.
Lord Chillingsworth's track, Man Being Boiled Alive While Chains Rattle in a Dungeon, was crazy spooky. It was everywhere this year. Haunted houses, Halloween stores, nighttime hayrides. Anywhere you look, people were getting the willies from this album.
But a lot of people thought Grammy darling Dr. Spookenstein was a shoo-in to win for his album Laboratory of Madness.
And that was a great album. Critics praised Spookenstein's stripped-down approach, rattling real bones together and dripping real blood onto a screaming lady.
The class act Spookenstein offered a gracious congratulations to Chillingsworth, saying, "I'm a fan of every bloody who was nominated, especially Chillingsworth. I have a skeleton ton of respect for him as an artist. I just saw him on the red carpet and congratulated him."
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, launching into the third hour of the program. You can dial in toll-free, bring up whatever you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. With you in the studio here tonight as we launch into the third hour, it's Ian.
And Johnny Ray.
And Mark.
Mark, apparently you've been fooled.
I've been fake news.
You've been hoisted.
Yeah.
Just moments ago, as we were going away from our second hour, going into the news, I mentioned, Mark, that you had a story you wanted to share about a man arrested after being, I guess, his home raided and having 3,000 penises found at his home.
Yep. It got me.
Turns out that is from a fake news website or satire site, whatever you want to call it, called worldnewsdailyreport.com. So they deserve credit for fooling you, the talk show host.
Yeah, they got me. I mean, basically I looked at it. That's interesting. Read the first line or so and seemed completely plausible. And
it did sound, plausible. Of course, the best lies have a grain of truth in them, right?
I think what really makes this story, sets the story apart, is the guy's mugshot.
The mugshot.
Yeah,
he's got a lazy eye.
They found a mugshot somewhere, and he's got like all his hair pulled up on the top of his head.
Like bunched up. Yeah.
And I mean, who knows? This guy's a drunk driver or,
He looks like a real winner.
Some dad that got behind and child support payments. I have no clue who this guy is, but the worldnewsdailyreport.com decided to take this story and sort of run with it, and they put something together, and there you go. They got a whole bunch of views. Looks like about, according to this, if you can believe it, 467 shares.
467,000
shares on Facebook. That's a huge amount of shares.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So. Yeah, what are you going to do?
But then if you look over at the related stories that appear right next to it.
That's how you tell.
Yeah. Let's
Drunk
give the
school
headlines.
principal defecates in front of students during Pledge of Allegiance.
Teenager sues his parents for $250,000 for naming him Gaylord.
Florida man drops down pants and sodomizes pink flamingo to death.
Man dies after choking on 37 edible condoms during wild sex orgy.
Man locked inside a supermarket for a night eats $8,000 worth of food.
Well, this is one of the things that happens when you don't do enough show prep, as we are wont to do some of the time.
I got plenty of show prep. It was just the title got me, and somebody's like, you got to read this on Facebook, and, there you go. So you got to read this on Free Talk Live, excuse me.
Yeah, and under hot news, they have a headline, Death Row inmate eats an entire Bible as his last meal. So, yeah, pretty obviously not true.
Yeah.
Toll-free number tonight, 855-450, free like freedom. But, Johnny Ray, you've got a sex-related story out of New York City?
Yeah, it's only sex-related or penis-related, very incidentally.
All right.
From FoxNews.com, Hell on Wheels, 5 disabled
Great
New
show.
Yorkers.
Television show. Did you ever see that? You like good Westerns?
Well, I like High Plains Drifter. That's the only one. And Shanghai Noon. I like that one.
That was a fun movie with Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson.
It was a great, strange mashup of Jackie Chan.
Yep.
Owen Wilson, the 90s, East meets West.
Yeah, it really had it all. I mean, that movie was really, well done across the board. It was really entertaining. It was a solid Western, but yet, like you said, kind of melding genres together.
Yeah, and it had some great Jackie Chan fight scenes.
Of course.
Involving sheriff's stars as throwing stars.
It's been a long time since I've seen
Very inventive stuff that guy does.
And the best fight was near the very beginning, where Jackie Chan was fighting 2 Native Americans in a river, and the photography is great because all their clothes get wet and it's like slow motion, and Jackie Chan's trying to run through the water, and there's water flying off his clothes, and he's jumping through trees and stuff. It's I like that movie. I like the music.
But you're not a Western guy? You don't like Westerns?
I guess I don't seek them out, no.
Okay. Well, if you do like Westerns, Hell on Wheels was a pretty good series from AMC. But that's not what this is about. This is a different group of people calling this. This is not a TV show. This is not fiction. What's going on?
5 New Yorkers in wheelchairs are behind nearly 400 lawsuits brought against small businesses for lacking handicap access.
Jeez.
Such legal claims have been criticized as part of a cottage industry of serial plaintiffs who target mom and pop establishments for quick cash settlements.
Well, there's nothing else to target at this point. You can't target the big, corporations because they have all the handicap stuff you could possibly look for at this point.
Exactly.
The big giant bathrooms, the parking spaces all in front of the stores that are rarely populated. These kind of things. I'm not saying that handicapped people don't need the parking spaces up front. It just seems like many times they're less than half occupied.
And I guess slipping is probably still a thing, I'm sure, where you go in and you find a wet patch somewhere and there's no sign around.
Well, slipping is yes, but slipping is sort of faked, right? As opposed to this, where they go to the mom and pop places and it's legitimately they don't meet the criteria. And there's plenty of places I've seen where, the handicap space is not present or poorly marked, or it doesn't have the sign in the proper location.
A lot of places are grandfathered in, especially as I understand it, like up here in New England.
It depends on what you're talking about, not the parking spaces.
No, but I'm talking about like access to a building. So
if you've got a used bookstore that's in the attic of some old place,
that's what I'm talking about. Grandfathered in. Here in New England, you've got some very, very old buildings that they just didn't have wheelchairs in mind when those buildings were designed, and as long as they're sort of in their original form, then...
I'm not sure that the building in its original form counts. It may have to be the original business when the rule was passed.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's possible.
But you see this in a lot of places here where it would be difficult for somebody in a wheelchair to get into these places because it's steps from... the ground level to the entryway.
We have in Main Street, Keene, a major bank has a branch, and they've just the Their facade there has been there for years upon years upon years, and they just this past month got wheelchair access. In the front.
They had wheelchair access in the back, though.
No, they did not.
They didn't? Are we talking about the one right on Central Square?
We're not talking about. Well, I can't. No, not right on Central Square. No.
All right, so
back to the story.
Yeah.
Such legal claims have been criticized, but others see the suits as helping enforce the Americans with Disabilities Act. Wheelchair ramps and bathroom doors are not the only battleground. 2 blind New Yorkers have taken the fight online, filing a combined 23 suits against business websites that didn't have screen reading software for the visually impaired.
My God.
And a woman cited 7 businesses for not allowing her service dog inside.
Now, I wonder, are these websites that are being sued New York City only, or are these people just going ahead and suing any website that they happen to come across?
They are, in this case, they're New York City website or New York State websites, I believe.
Yeah, because I mean, it would be shocking to me if the Americans with Disability Act all of a sudden is applying to websites. But I guess I shouldn't be surprised if that were true. So this sounds like it might be New York based, or maybe it's just they're sticking to New York because that's where their attorneys are licensed, and so that's where they're it's easiest to file these lawsuits.
And possibly the laws are more specific to the
very
state.
Restrictive, I imagine, in a place like New York City.
Yeah.
This woman, there was a separate sentence about this woman suing that her service dog wasn't allowed. It was right after blind people, and everybody agrees that sort of blind people's service dogs should be allowed in businesses and that sort of thing. I think. I mean, enough people, the vast majority of people agree with that. However, I think that there's many people that are somewhat skeptical about every sort of service dog that there is.
I certainly am.
You bought your dog a red vest, and now you call them an emotional service animal or whatever it is. It's
just women who like to carry their dogs around with them everywhere.
Playing a game
on
here.
the plane, everywhere.
And
if you don't like them having their dog on the plane with them, you're getting sued, buddy.
There's more to the story. We'll talk about the Hell on Wheels, as they are called. These folks who are going around suing businesses for alleged violations of the Americans with Disabilities Act. You can share your thoughts with us at 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Free Talk Live.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. 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 The 3 most important things you can do for LRN.FM are: 1. Let your friends know you're listening to LRN.FM on your social networking profile. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.LRN.FM. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.LRN.FM. You like your friends, and you like LRN.FM, or you wouldn't be listening. So like your friends enough to share something you like with them. Please share that you're listening to LRN.FM on your favorite social networking site.
Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try at dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
When commercials come on, don't push the button. Instead, listen. Even if you don't sell things for a living, you're still selling in the various conversations and transactions that make up your busy day. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important, especially if you're a job seeker. So take a lesson from Madison Avenue. Often the fewer words, the more effective the message. Like Jiffy Lube, where you never need an appointment, or the Office Max ad that says, you supply the ambition, we supply everything else. How about online ticket broker StubHub.com, the way in when it's sold out, or CyberCupidMatch.com's seductive, go ahead, it's okay to look. How cleverly and succinctly can you distill your message? For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. Dial in toll-free and bring up whatever you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype, and the Skype username is LRN.FM. It's Ian, Johnny Ray, and Mark in the studio tonight. Of course, you can bring up whatever you want. We're talking about a group of people in New York City who've teamed up with attorneys. These people are folks who are disabled, supposedly, and they are going around suing mom-and-pop businesses over alleged violations of the Americans with Disabilities Act, rather than, maybe going and having a conversation with the owner like a nice person would do, somebody who wanted to persuade their neighbors to do the right thing and install a wheelchair ramp or whatever it is that the issue might have ostensibly been with the place. But no, they'd rather go to the attorneys and have lawsuits filed to get their way, so they can get a payout.
Yeah, there's a payout.
And they're telling themselves, because it's tough to live with yourself when you're this kind of special type of loser.
Right.
They're telling
basically
themselves,
an ambulance chaser.
I'm helping everybody else, but no, there's a way to do that, and Ian, you just described it, is to go and talk to the person who can do something about it, has an interest in doing something about it, and express.
But that requires persuasion. That requires some level of neighborliness, some level of kindness, and it probably takes a little longer. In this case, the attorneys are willing to do all the work. They're the ones who are going to walk away with probably 2/3 of the paycheck.
In many cases, the people are attorneys.
The crippled people?
The disabled people, in many cases have found that filing these lawsuits themselves is more beneficial to, they don't have to pay out 33%.
Right.
So that's what's happened. I mean, not every time by any stretch of the imagination, but in many cases, yeah.
Zoltan Hirsch, 37, a double amputee from Brooklyn, is hell on wheels for those who fail to make their establishment wheelchair accessible. Since 2010, he has filed suit against 195 businesses.
You shall not incur the wrath of me, Zoltan!
Ranging from a Soho eyeglass shop to Brooklyn bodegas to a Hell's Kitchen restaurant. 4 other New Yorkers have filed.
It's Clinton now, just so you know.
They renamed it, right?
Yeah.
What?
Hell's Kitchen.
Hell's Kitchen?
Right. Who wants to live in Hell's Kitchen? I do, but I'm not sure everybody else would.
That's unfortunate.
That's the notion, anyway.
4 other New Yorkers have filed 200 suits over wheelchair access. Luigi Girato, Pedro Fontanes, Jerry Cancat, and Naquan Taylor. Fontanes, 69 of Queens, has filed 13 suits against businesses along 5th Avenue in Park Slope between 9th and Bergen Streets. He claims to have
going
suffered
down the street, one after the next.
He claims to have suffered harm and injury at cafes, including Le Pain Quotidien, Pizza Town.
Good job, by the way.
Thank you. I'm sure it's wrong.
Is that what that means? Le Pain Quotidien? Does that mean Pizza Town, or is that a separate?
No, it's a separate.
No, Le Pain would be bread, I think.
I see.
Would just be a guess. I'm only taking my knowledge of Spanish and applying it.
Sounds French to me.
Yes.
Pizza
It's
Town.
a romance language, buddy.
Right.
Uncle Barry's, Sky Ice Sweet and Savory, Dizzy's Diner, and Conditori Swedish Espresso
How
Bar.
many of them are still in existence? I mean, you got to wonder, these lawsuits, ADA stuff can be very disabling to the business if they have to actually, if they're just barely making payroll, if they're just barely getting the bills paid at the end of the month, and maybe taking home a box of crackers for themselves when the owners, when all's said and done, and then if all of a sudden they've got to do a major renovation because the federal government or the New York State is coming down on them for some of these mandates, that could put these folks out of business.
Yep.
But the folks who are filing these lawsuits, they don't care about that.
Well,
they don't care if 10 people lose their jobs.
Yeah, they don't care about that, but they think that
they've embraced victimhood.
Yeah, in the greater scheme of things, if the business goes out of business, then it will be replaced by a business that follows the ADA.
Mm. At Conditori, he also griped that the bathroom mirror was too high. Mark Caserta.
That's not exactly harm.
Mark Caserta, director of the Park Slope 5th Avenue Business Improvement District Committee, blasted the suits.
What kind of society do we live in where a mirror in a bathroom is a right?
It's the American society. Yeah, we're all pretty well used to it now. Mark Caserta blasted the suits, saying, "This shouldn't be happening. Small businesses are already struggling to stay afloat, and these lawsuits could put them over the edge." Dennis Kearney, an attorney who defended Uncle Barry's craft beer bar against Fontanes this year, noted most defendants settle to escape the cost of litigation.
Sure. And that's true with just about every situation because the United States judicial civil system is just so ponderous and expensive.
It'll cost you way more to actually go through with a trial than to just pay out the attorneys and fix the alleged problems.
Yep.
You tell an attorney that you want to take something to trial for the few times that I've done it, they're surprised. They don't expect that.
And annoyed.
Well, some of them love it because they get to bill more hours in that particular case. But yeah, they'd rather not have to.
Why would somebody pay $100,000 in legal fees to go to trial when they can pay a fraction of that and be done with it, he said.
Yep.
Plaintiffs typically ask for modest damages, but
in comparison to $100,000.
Plaintiffs typically ask for modest damages, but demand payment of their attorney's fees, which can top $20,000. Kearney believes the plaintiffs and lawyers split the fees.
They sure do. The lawyer's probably getting 2/3. The plaintiff's probably getting 1/3 or somewhere thereabouts.
Commercial websites are the newest lucrative legal target.
This is insane.
Blind Brooklyn resident Marion Kyler, 66, sued 8 sites throughout the state during May and June. Among them was the Museum of Sex's online store, where she claimed to have made numerous attempts to buy products. The site's wares range from nipple clamps to penis-shaped pasta.
The Museum of Sex selling products. You almost think for a moment that you could buy historic pieces, but no, it just sounds like regular old sex toy stuff.
Cheryl Christ, 62, of Manhattan, has brought 7 suits against businesses, including an East Village McDonald's, for not allowing her service dog, Bocce, inside.
Service dog.
Cheryl.
She's
a woman.
Yeah. Is Cheryl blind?
Doesn't say.
Okay.
The service dog can be used by pretty much anybody.
Sure. They're not saying a seeing eye dog.
Right.
Which, a seeing eye dog is a service dog, but this term service dog has become so watered down that it is close to meaningless these days, where everybody needs to have their emotional support animal along with them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get one of my pigs, Fitzy, and I'm going to teach him to come along, and I'm going to put a little red vest on him, and I'm going to say, this is my
service pig.
Emotional support animal. What are you going to do about it?
That, I believe, is a different categorization, is it not? Service dog is different from an emotional support animal.
I'm not sure, but
I understand.
I could claim that he he knows when I'm going to have an epileptic seizure.
You don't actually have to explain yourself, as I understand it.
Right.
The people cannot ask you for what purpose the service dog serves. You just simply say this is your service dog, and they're not allowed to ask you what, because it would be a violation of healthcare privacy.
Pig. Get it right. Service
Free
animal.
Talk Live. More coming up. You join us here.
North Korea openly threatens the U.S. and launches a new missile every other week. Their warhead of choice? Electromagnetic pulse. Such an event would cripple the U.S. power grid for years and leave millions in the dark. Are you ready? You can be with a Solarc EMP-hardened solar generator. Solarc works day in and day out to keep your essentials protected. You can have peace of mind knowing your power will be there when you most need it. Visit PortableSolarLLC.com to see EMP testing. That's PortableSolarLLC.com. Energy insurance for your family.
With nearly 70 years of history engineering bunkers, today, Atlas Survival Shelters is still the authority. Atlas offers 18 different choices, from commercial tornado shelters to underground nuclear fallout shelters, starting at just $99.99 with 100% financing available. Comfortable interiors and state-of-the-art air filtration systems. Atlas Survival Shelters are the most popular private survival shelters in the world. Call 1-855-4BUNKER now or visit atlassurvivalshelters.com.
Free Talk Live.
What are you going to do about it? Instead of sitting on a microphone, what are you going to do about it?
I've stopped paying income tax. My partner spent 60 days in jail for standing in the way of a police car that was taking somebody to jail that he didn't believe should be taken to jail.
So I've done cop blocking, I've done outreach, I've done all kinds of stuff. Do you need more? I've run for political office, I've gone to the State House and testified many times, and I also do civil disobedience. What else can I do?
It's like it's pathetic, really. I mean, it's
What's
bad.
pathetic, sir? What's pathetic?
You are. The two of you are.
How's that exactly?
The two of you are. Because you're pathetic. You just sit there and rail about stuff that you don't do a thing about.
What are you doing, Danny? Tell me something I could do that's not pathetic.
I'm not hosting a show. I'm not hosting a show. I'm not the one that comes.
So you have no ideas. You have nothing original.
He's got microphone
and
in
now you're going bye-bye.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you are invited to join us on the radio waves, where you can take control of those airwaves toll free at 855-450, free like freedom. 855-450-3733. With you in the studio here, you've got Ian,
Jonny Ray,
and Mark. Only 1% of the population is getting the amount of fruits and vegetables they need daily. That's 10 servings. And 10 servings is nearly a gallon of fruits and veggies in their raw form. That's a lot of space that they're taking up, and it takes a real commitment to get that in day after day. Now, of course, you'll be protected to some extent against obesity, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, cancer, and enough antioxidants to neutralize all 5 of the known free radicals. But you can kind of cheat, like I've been, by using Whole Food Multi-Complete's Fruit and Veggie Total. Now, what it has is all these antioxidants, and the equivalent, 2 scoops is the equivalent approximately. This is not exactly right, but basically the equivalent of 10 servings of fruits and vegetables. So you can get your regular fruits and veggies in a day and then get 1 scoop, and that'll probably make up the rest. If you're really bad about your fruits and veggies, well, take 2 scoops per day. Go to simplifymysupplements.com, and like I have, and buy Whole Food Multi-Complete's Fruit and Veggie Total. You'll get 10% off with coupon code FTL, and they even give you a little free shaker bottle, which is really, really great. It works awesome. SimplifyMySupplements.com, and the coupon code is FTL.
All right, so our toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE. Jonny Ray, you're telling us about Hell on Wheels. It's a group of folks who are ostensibly crippled in some way or disabled.
And you're supposed to say crippled.
Yeah, I don't like it when people tell me what I can and can't say. Anyway, so these people...
Tell that to Chris Cantwell.
Yeah, right.
These people are
Sting.
Suing businesses. They're suing mom-and-pop businesses in New York City for not following, ostensibly, the regulations put on them by the AMA, or the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act. And they're splitting the money, obviously, with their attorneys, if they aren't already themselves attorneys, and going after people for, what is ridiculous nonsense in, I think, a lot of cases. Like, one guy was mad because a mirror in a bathroom was too high for his liking. So he couldn't see some area of his body or whatever, and I guess that's illegal, and all other manner of things. Now, I didn't know if there was more that you had to share.
No, I'm pretty much done with it, but I think that as part of I think they must claim some kind of injury in order to bring suit, because otherwise they would simply report the violation to some bureau somewhere, and then they would
issue a threat.
I don't think so. I think that in the case of the ADA, it's written so that it's basically self-enforcing. It's enforced in a civil as opposed to a bureaucratic fashion, that there isn't a bureaucracy that handles this.
Meaning so long as there's a violation, then there's an injury, basically, is the idea?
That's the way it's written, yeah. And I think it's we were talking during the break about service animals, and I think this is interesting information. They can only ask you what, Ian?
Oh, yeah, Daryl came in to correct me on that. Thank you for bringing that back up, Mark, because I had said that people can just go in with a so-called service animal to some building or business and that they can't be asked about what the reason for the service animal is. And according to a story that I pulled up somewhere, and I don't know if I still have it, Daryl is correct. The two questions can be asked. One is this a service animal? Meaning, as you're walking into the store, somebody can accost you and say, is this a service animal?
As your pet monkey flings poo at them, right?
And then ask them,
yes, it is.
For what reason they have the service animal.
The emotional support. I like it when he flings poo at people.
What does it perform? What sort of service is the animal performing? So I guess questions can be asked in that case.
I've heard that and this info is probably outdated, but that what you would do if you're skeptical is ask the person to have their animal demonstrate what service it provides.
I don't think you can ask that. You only can ask them what the service is.
If the animal detects whether or not you're going to have a seizure at any given time, how's the animal going to demonstrate that?
You can't ask them that anyway.
Right. I'm just saying.
And there's no proof.
See,
either.
I've got a story. I did bring an animal that was not a service animal onto a plane.
I don't know if you want to admit that.
What's the statute of limitations?
I don't know.
Come and get me, coppers. I brought an animal that was not a service animal onto a plane.
With a vest on.
Yeah, with a vest on, wearing a bright red vest, and claiming that it was could detect whether or not I was going to have a seizure. And fortunately, I had no seizures while on the plane.
Mm-hmm.
Never have had a seizure, frankly. And, the animal was fine and everything went great.
I bet she would know if you were going to have a seizure.
She might very well. Yeah. She's a good girl. But the thing is that airlines kill dogs. This happens
in the hold. You mean?
Yeah, sometimes this happens. Sometimes they freeze to death. It's a remarkable the number of animals that die in those crates. So by no means am I going to send a dog that I love through an airline. No, it's not going to happen.
So there you go. Oh, and by the way, there's no service animal ID or paperwork or anything like that is required to be shown either.
I would say in my story, though, that one of the TSA guys started asking questions because he was very skeptical. The dog was not used to being sort of touched by random bureaucrats.
Mm-hmm.
I think it has an aversion. It's a libertarian dog, and I think it's an aversion to bureaucrats just sort of manhandling it and that sort of thing.
Let's go to Sarah in New Mexico. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Sarah.
Yeah, I just want to mention that the ART project here.
The ART project.
The rapid transit. I just want to mention that the handicaps here were suing the city. We're going to because of the narrow sidewalks. Also, that was one of the major reasons why they have the rapid transit.
Because just the sidewalks are narrow?
The sidewalks are about 3 feet. If they wobble, they will just fall off right into the street with no bike lane. So they were about to sue or planning to sue or something. But I just want to also mention that I do like the ART because I have something funny to say is you know how we got alcoholics that get hit by a car?
Yeah.
Well, it'll be less alcoholics because they only have one street to cross at a time instead of two.
Why is
so
that?
It'll be less dense bodies to scrape up off of Central. How about that?
I think the buses should just have little drunk catchers instead of cow catchers on the fronts of trains.
Just scoop them up.
That'll take care of the problem.
So what you're saying is, Sarah, I can understand your call a little better than probably the average person listening because you've called about this in the past, and I was here for it, unlike the average person who probably has no idea what an ART is. And this is a federal
rapid transit?
That's correct. This is a mostly federally funded rapid transit so-called program that is basically tearing up Route 66, the infamous Route 66, and which is one of the main drags apparently through Albuquerque, tearing it up, and they're going to remove lanes of traffic. Multiple lanes of traffic are going to be removed from what is already a congested road. Those traffic lanes are going to be replaced by a large tram of some sort of device.
They're putting railroad tracks in the middle of the road?
I don't know if they're going to be railroad tracks, but some kind of... what do you know, Sarah? What are they using for the track, if any?
Well, it's actually a bus because it's cost effective, and for the rail line, it costs like $10 million more per mile. So it's just an all electric bus that goes in the middle. So many of the places are going to go from 4 car lanes to 1 car lane and the other 1 car lane. So that's why I'm saying that
They're going from 4 lanes to 1?
2.
No, 2. The 2 car lanes going one way will be narrowed to 1 lane.
My God, this is going to be a nightmare. And so what's happening is and thank you for the call tonight, Sarah. So they're doing all this, not only are doing all this construction and destroying the businesses around them by making it difficult for people to get in and out of them, but then later on down the line, it'll be even more difficult to even go down this street because you're reducing the traffic by, 50%, or the amount of possible throughput by 50%. It's a crazy idea. More coming up here. Free Talk Live.
From the second letter of Captain Mark. Any pirate knows that commerce is communication. Markets condense oceans of information into a single price. Innovations in communication are circumventing the scrutiny of the crown. This signals a change in the coin of the realm. The crown uses digital currency to surveil, censor, seize, and destroy wealth at will, so pirate currency must protect us from this weaponized money. We need to move funds further, faster, cheaper, and without third-party observation, basing decisions on an accelerating flow of information. So pirates require nearly instantaneous transactions with no arbitrary limits on volume or artificial influences on fees. Most importantly, a pirate currency must preclude centralization. Otherwise, it will become another link in our chain to the crown. A superior currency will result in the obsolescence of the coin of the realm and the extinction of the crown itself. Trade above the grid. Join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Investing is a long-term process. How many times can you think of in the last decade that the stock market has destroyed retirement funds for people just like you and me? For your existing IRA, you need the security that gold has provided for centuries. Remember, gold has never been worth zero. Capital Gold would like to introduce you to the Home Storage Gold IRA. It's a self-directed IRA set up with all the protection and tax benefits of an LLC. But the big difference in this IRA is you invest in gold and you hold it in your possession. You can't do that with stocks. That's security. You can transfer any type of IRA hassle-free in days. Please call right now and learn more, and we'll waive the $500 setup fee and give you a free safe to store your gold. 800-535-7789. 800-535-7789. 800-535-7789. That's 800-535-7789.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, hey, who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait on account. Now. Wait a minute.
Forget the road.
Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me.
What
am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Boost Kid Essentials Nutritionally Complete Drink, providing your picky eater with essential nutrition and great taste in one drink. Visit us at kidessentials.com. To make sure your kids eat healthy, follow the 5-a-day plan. Serve 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit daily. Remember, a serving could just mean a piece of fruit or a half cup of veggies. If your kids are picky eaters, ask a nutritionist about other sources. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Moments remain. Enough time for you if you dial in now to join us. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we do have Skype, so you may Skype into the show at Skype username lrn.fm. Also, Mark, there's a walk, not really a walk-a-thon, but like a walking event for charity that Free Talk Live hosts will be involved in. What's it all about?
Right. It's St. Jude. It's, a hospital that takes care of kids with cancer, and they do a great deal of cancer research. It's not just helping those kids; it's helping all of the world because we're figuring out, these forms of cancer. But what I think is great, what's best about it is families, obviously, whose children have cancer, they're going through really hard times. Well, they don't have to pay a penny. St. Jude takes care of it, and it's all through donations, and it's their relationship with, businesses and radio stations and all kinds of stuff that make it possible. And they've got a really great organization over there, St. Jude, and a listener who is excited about St. Jude, like I am, approached me on this subject. They basically put this together with Team Edge for the virtual walk, and all you've got to do is go to walk.freetalklive.com. That's W-A-L-K, walk.freetalklive.com, and sponsor us. We're trying to hit, some pretty reasonable numbers there. Not a big, a big amount of money, but it would be really great if you help support us and help support kids with cancer. I mean, it's kids with cancer, right? Walk.freetalklive.com.
All right, so it's where you can donate to the 5K that we're going to be doing in the next few weeks at some point.
Got to do it in the next. We've got to. I think we'll do it
sometime
not this
month.
Weekend coming, but the weekend after. I think so.
Okay,
yeah,
sounds good. We'll look forward to that. Of course, you can bring up anything you want here on Free Talk Live. Gene, the Christian anarchist, is on the amp lines. Go ahead, Gene.
Hey guys, good evening. I wanted to talk about all this patriotism and the rising for the national anthem and saluting the flag and all of this nonsense. And, they say that patriotism is the last bastion of the scoundrel, and I know I'm going to have some pissed-off listeners tonight. But the national anthem, if people would research it, it was and not exactly the greatest anthem out there. The third verse is actually about celebrating a bunch of slaves sinking in a ship. So, people, if you really want to research this stuff, you're going to find out that no matter what you think of your government, they don't hold your opinions or your life very high. So people need to realize that supposedly when the country was founded, they were supposed to be servants, not masters, servants. And they have been treating us like the servants, and they're the masters.
Sure have.
So, yeah.
Now,
normally the servant doesn't tell you what to do.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
So, Gene, I have said this to people on the air, and those people immediately respond with, "Well, those people aren't protesting the, they're not protesting the national anthem with their kneeling." And I guess we're talking about the football players right now. They're not protesting the meaning of the national anthem as though they would care. These people would care if that was the case. But nonetheless, that's not what they're protesting. They're protesting something else. So therefore, that doesn't matter.
Well, to me, it comes down to these people claiming, well, you've got to have respect for the flag. You've got to have respect for the national. No, I don't have to have respect. Hello? Supposedly I have free speech, and that free speech includes being disrespectful if I want to be. Now, I'm not saying that I am disrespectful, and I'm usually not. Generally, I participate in the rising and putting my hand on my heart, just mainly because I don't want to offend the religious believers. And I'm talking, of course, about the world's most dangerous religion, which is worshiping your government. Mm-hmm. So I don't offend people around me when they practice their religion. But
it could be dangerous to your health if you were to offend those people. They might just lash out at you.
Oh, it happens.
Yes, that's been known to happen.
I think it's also interesting that people, the football players that are taking the knee are protesting. For one, they're taking a knee in order to, protest in the most respectful fashion possible. Rather than sitting their butt down or doing backflips across the 50-yard line, they're taking a knee, which is a pretty respectful position. But the complaint is that they're disrespecting the soldiers. Well, that's not why they're taking the knee. If one says that it doesn't matter that what the national anthem says because the players aren't protesting it, then one must also necessarily say it doesn't matter what you think about the soldiers and the players' actions towards the soldiers because the players are protesting the cops. Like if the players' intention matters, then the players' intention matters. But you can't say on one hand the player's intention doesn't matter and on the other hand that it does.
Well, all of this anger over people supposedly disrespecting these items, it just goes to prove the fact that this is nothing more than a religion. And this is supposedly a Christian nation. I mean, I call myself the Christian anarchist because I believe in Christianity above all else. I don't worship a flag. I worship my Creator, which is the one who created us all. And supposedly, if you want to believe in the United States of America existing at all, it exists by the grace of God. So if you want to worship somebody, don't worship the government. Worship the Creator that you think created the government. Indeed. The many religions, and I mentioned this, I think on Saturday night, many religions, they find this whole idea of saying the pledge and standing for the anthem and all these things to be, worship of iconography, icons. Mm-hmm. And that's what the Amish, the Mennonites, the Hutterites.
Anyone being honest with themselves should consider these things to be icons.
Well, I think that you could look at it some other way, but at the very least, what you need to say is if this is really important to you, you need to take a deep breath and say that there are good Americans, and there have been throughout the ages, that disagree with you. That this is not something to get all upset about. This is just a discussion to be had. And this is an area where people, they froth at the mouth. It's so important to them. And this just isn't important, people. Black people aren't standing up for your favorite song, and you're acting like a jerk about it.
Doesn't it say in the Bible that Americans are God's chosen people?
That's right. When Abraham came down from Mount Vernon and handed out the stone tablets, that's exactly what it said.
My favorite meme. There've been some really good memes about this the football thing, but I love the one that shows there's like a two frame. So on the top there's like a frame from some riot, right? Like some obvious rioter doing some kind of destruction, fire in the background or whatever, and it's it says over top of that, you need to be doing peaceful protests, or I'm paraphrasing what it says. And then below that, it shows the people peacefully kneeling at a football game, and it's like, not like that.
Indeed.
You just can't make these people happy.
I saw that one too on Twitter.
Yeah,
I like what I think Jeff Berwick said about if you're really upset about the football man kneeling during the national sing-along song, then you are a snowflake of epic proportions.
And that's really what it boils down to, is everybody has become a snowflake these days. You're butthurt over everything.
Right.
If somebody doesn't pay the proper respect to your piece of cloth, you get all butthurt about it. I mean, gee whiz, I don't like it when people don't pay certain respect to things that I like, but I don't go
I don't care.
Crying about it.
Yeah, it's your life. You can do whatever you want with it. Who cares? I think the other meme about the snowflake thing was that you are either now a left snowflake or a right snowflake. But yeah, I think you're right, Gene. All these people are snowflakes. So always looking to be offended by something and constantly butthurt.
It's like when we had the Free Talk Live forums back in the old days, and people were. I started my Christian Anarchy thread, and people were just putting all kinds of Jesus porn and stuff on there, and it didn't bother me. I said, go ahead, put your stuff on there, and then I started putting, death porn on their things, and now they started whining. Oh my gosh, well, the Christian Anarchist posting these horrible images. Well, you started it first, so I'm just
I'd
playing
like
the
to
game,
say the Free Talk Live forum is back. It's not the original one, which was the BBS that we we had for so many years, which is still online for archival purposes at bbs.freetalklive.com. But the new forum is at forum.freetalklive.com. And so far, everybody's behaving themselves pretty well. I don't know for how long that will last, but so far it's very positive.
The trolls are busy in YouTube comments.
Yeah, that's a good point. Or on Facebook. So we're having fun over there. Yeah, check it out. It's free to register. You just have to post a quick introduction. That helps keep some of the spammers and trolls away. And it's free. And it's also the Shire Forum, so there's a little bit more there than just Free Talk Live discussion, but there is a specific Free Talk Live and LRN.FM discussion area. So check it out at forum.freetalklive.com. It's been Ian here tonight.
Johnny Ray.
And Mark.
Tomorrow night, we'll see you online between now and then over at freetalklive.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. SaveItPurse.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
The Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.